excitement. 16 teams playing for their lives right off the bat.
You will have a postseason to remember. An unprecedented regular season has given way to an unprecedented postseason. Welcome to the 2020 Wild Card Series presented by Hankook Tire. There were many who doubted we would ever complete the regular season, let alone play a postseason. And now on the horizon, a World Series title. We start with a very unique format, a best-of-3 Wild Card Series featuring all 16 playoff teams, including 8 in the American League. We start with the Astros and the Twins. A little later, the White Sox and A's get underway in Oakland. The Yankees and Indians at 7 Eastern time on ESPN with a pitching showdown between Garrett Cole and the likely Cy Young winner, Shane Bieber. Never before have we done this. We have Tim Kirkshin here in the studio, Eduardo Perez. 16 teams, including the Twins, who have lost 16 consecutive playoff games. We'll start with the Astros, guys. This is a Houston Astro team that has gotten very familiar with the postseason. We saw them win the World Series in 2017, and then, of course, the cheating scandal. And it all broke loose in 2020 when they lost several and are playing under the cloud of this cheating scandal.
Right, the Astros have been to the League Championship Series 3 years in a row, but this is a completely different team. They're under 500 this year. No Justin Verlander and obviously no Garrett Cole, and their offense isn't even close to what it was last year. Plus, they've played the season under that cloud of the cheating scandal. In some ways, Ravi, it's surprising they even made the playoffs.
One of 2 teams with an under 500 record that got here, and the individuals have led to those numbers on your screen, which is why the offense has been down in 2020. Look, Minnesota was La Bamba last year, Eduardo Perez. They blasted over 300 home runs. This year, they're not so reliant on the homer. They brought in Josh Donaldson, and he is not on this wild card roster. That's a big blow. How do they make up for his absence?
Well, they keep going to Nelson Cruz. He's been the leader of this team on and off the field. And again, they call him the boomstick, and there's a reason. You pitch him away, he'll hit it to right field over the fence. You pitch him inside, he has the ability of bringing his hands in and hitting it over 420 feet. And also, you pitch him up the middle, guess what? He's going to take you up the middle, and the numbers do not lie. You see right there what he has been able to do this season. Nelson Cruz's OPS way at the top. He continues to slug even at the age of 40. And then you look at what this team can do as far as home runs. Look at that. Buxton, Rosario, and Sano, homegrown talent. Already 13 home runs along with 16 from Nelson Cruz.
And just think, they had Donaldson, but a calf injury reared its ugly head, and he is not on the wild card roster. So Zach Greinke doesn't have to worry about him. The Astros offense does have to worry about Kenta Maeda, who likely is a top 3 Cy Young guy this season. We are looking forward to first pitch as we remind everyone the Wild Card Series is presented by Hankook Tire. Never halfway. Back with Tim Kirkshin and Eduardo Perez after this message and a word from our ABC stations. About a week ago, it started to get chilly, and that means postseason baseball is upon us, and it is as we begin the first of 3 games on ESPN today. T-Mobile is your ticket to the game. Let's dig into today's key game insights for the fans at home. The Astros have been terrible on the road this year, 9-23. Ironically, they have the second best home record behind the Twins, but they don't get any games at home.
It's the worst road record ever by a playoff team.
The Twins' best since the 75 Reds. Eduardo, you know a little thing or two about the 75 Reds.
I know a little thing about the 75 Reds, and I know a lot also about the 2013 Astros, who lost 111 games.
Here are the Astros starting lineup. And Springer's been really good this year. So many of the other guys, including the man you're looking at right there, Alex Bregman, who bat cleanup today, struggling. Brantley with the bat in his hand, consistent, but a .240 batting average is their worst since 2013. The question is going to be for Houston, can they turn the page now that it's the second season and reignite some some of those flames that burned so brightly the last 4 years. They're going to have to do it against a guy who's been so good, Tim.
Revy, he's faced 248 batters this year and retired 200 of them. He is in the top 3 of the AL Cy Young. He had the 3rd lowest whip this year, 60 or more innings of any starting pitcher ever. That's how good this guy's been. They have needed an ace for years. He has pitched like an ace this year.
32 years young, from Japan, his 5th year in the majors. He, of course, was with the Dodgers and a starter for most of that, except when they got to the postseason. Then he was used out of the bullpen more often. In fact, 21 of his 24 appearances with the Dodgers in the postseason were in relief. But now he's a starter, and he's the stud that the Twins, their big question, do they have Eduardo the ace to get them to the next step and not lose a postseason game, let alone a series?
Yeah, and that's going to be the big question. But the Houston Astros have experience facing Kenta Maeda. The difference is Kenta Maeda has been able to evolve with the Minnesota Twins. Starting to throw a lot more off-speed pitches, uses that changeup and slider and the fastball to all quadrants. But the changeup slider is going to be his money pitch, especially in hitters' counts.
George Springer leads things off for the Astros. And the 2020 postseason is underway with a first pitch strike from Kenta Maeda.
And very fitting, it was a breaking ball. 72% of his pitches this year have been off speed. The Twins love it when you throw your breaking ball, and he starts off with one there.
He likes the ball outside. That's where they're set up, and that one gets a piece of the corner. Strike 2 as DJ Rayburn is calling balls and strikes today.
George Springer on the road this year raked. OPS of .935 and 116 plate appearances.
Home runs, 32 RBI on the season for Springer. He has had great success in the postseason. We've seen the MVP, the series, 15 postseason home runs. And free agent after this year.
Maeda's been especially good at home. 1.91 ERA at Target Field.
Guys, just keep an eye right there on the fastball. That was supposed to be inside. Ryan Jeffers behind the plate was set up way in. Ball, he ended up pulling it glove side. Let's see if Kenta will be able to master the arm side to be able to have this pitch work for him the rest of the game. That's that slider down and away.
And a good take by Springer to make it 3-2. For Kenta Maeda, this is his first playoff start since 2016. Over to third. That's Marwin Gonzalez, the former Astro and close friend of Carlos Correa and Jose Altuve for the first out of the game.
Keep in mind, so far, a lot of sliders from Kenta Maeda to George Springer. He's going to pitch to the scouting report. Minnesota Twins take pride in their advanced scouting, using not only the eyeballs but the analytics in their favor.
And he stuck with what got him there, a slider. And here's Jose Altuve, the second baseman. Stunning to think of where he was and where he is. A .219 batting average for the season. First pitch, strike 1. Perhaps most affected by the cheating scandal is this guy right here.
Right. He's a little guy. Everybody loves him, and he enjoys that. And now, to some, he's a villain. He has not handled that particularly well. Sensitive kid.
And he talked to people around the Astros, hitting coaches, managers. They'll tell you they have been swinging at balls outside the zone. They don't strike out a lot, but they are not as locked in as they've been. What do you think attributed to that? And he pops this one up. That's Max Kepler for the second out.
And Carl, to your point, I think a lot of it is the Astros not knowing if they were going to be thrown at or not. And when you don't feel comfortable at the plate in that batter's box, and you don't feel like you can own it at the major league level, you're not going to be successful. And it's a matter of feel. And Jose Altuve was swinging at everything, guessing before he was able to see the ball. One of his best abilities that he had out of the hand of the pitcher.
Here's one of the guys who's had a good year for them, Michael Brantley, the designated hitter, 300 average, 364 on base, and 840 OPS.
Watch his takes. Very quiet at the plate. Gives you a strong at-bat every time. Does not give away pitches. This is one of the reasons why the Cleveland Indians, even throughout his injury, through his injuries, they still stayed patient and picked up his contract on his last year.
Right down the middle, strike one. 1-1.
Look how Maeda has located. Tyler Duffy, one of the relievers yesterday, said he just doesn't miss location with 5 or 6 different pitches. The ball darts left, it darts right. He said it's been artwork watching this guy throw this year. That's how precise he's been.
Asked Dusty Baker about the approach against Maeda in his best season. He said he doesn't throw his fastball like many. You see the 19% on a 4-seamer. A slider changeup guy living on the outside corner with a curve and cutter used sparingly. 2-1, and Brantley into left field. That's down. First hit of the game. It's cut off by Rosario. Brantley digging for second. And he's in there with a double for Michael Brantley. He's a doubles machine. That is his 16th double of the season.
Well, any average hitter is going to try to pull this ball, and when you try to pull the ball, you're going to end up rolling over. Kenta Maeda throwing a changeup that goes away from Brantley, and what does he do? He goes with it. You see it right there, almost a split grip. Pitch up in the zone, going the other way. Nice piece of hitting, better base running with 2 outs. Supposed to make Eddie Rosario throw you out, and he did not.
A chance now for Alex Bregman, who in 44 career postseason games, a lot for such a young guy. A .231 average, 10 homers, 27 RBIs. Fastball 91 right down Broadway to get ahead of Bregman.
And he had a hamstring injury, Bregman. Came back on September the 8th. He's hit 197 with 2 homers since he's been back. You still have to wonder, is that bothering him a little bit? Much too good of a hitter to struggle like that for that long of a time.
Close, but it's called the ball, and it's 1-1.
You know, when I think of Alex Bregman, I think of swag. I think of he knows since day one that he belonged at the major league level, that he could produce. Always had to prove everyone wrong. It was because of his size at LSU. Gets drafted 2nd overall. That's why he's wearing number 2 on his back. Always having that chip on his shoulder. That chip seems to have left this season.
A hit would help a lot, but instead it's caught by the shortstop, Jorge Polanco. Maeda walks off the mound, having given up just a hit. Here come the Twins when we come back. 12 when scoring first. The Astros a 0 on the board in the top, and now we take a look at the starting lineup. And again, no Josh Donaldson. Didn't get the impression from Rocco Baldelli, who, along with the front office, left Donaldson off of the wild card roster, that they believe like it's a guarantee he's coming back if they're able to advance. And they are 17-8 when he starts and 19-16 when he doesn't. First time Kepler's batted 3rd all season long. 3rd time that Luis Arias has batted leadoff. It's an unfamiliar lineup.
Right, absolutely. And no Donaldson, but Byron Buxton is in there. He is so good defensively. You know, he's had some headaches after getting hit in the head. It's a great sign he's in there for game 1.
See Zach Greinke's numbers for the regular season, 3-3 with a 4.03. His career postseason numbers are 3-6 with a 4.21 ERA.
Guys, keep an eye on Arise at the plate. He's one that makes a lot of contact. Best in Major League Baseball since last year.
Ravi struck out 11 times all year.
All year.
It's so refreshing.
1 strikeout in his last 15 games. 1 in his last 15 games.
In a strikeout era, to see a guy who not only puts it in play but is really proud of doing that, it's great to see.
Right back up the middle. There's Correa. Fires to first for the out. Really good defense behind Zach Greinke today. A .991 fielding percentage for the Astros, which is best in baseball.
Right, only 20 errors for the Astros this year, and only 20 errors for the Twins. The fewest errors made in the American League are by these two teams.
Another way to look at it, Eddie, they're plus 13 defensive run save, which is 11th in baseball.
And if you look at that infield, they're all middle infielders. Yuli Gurriel came up in Cuba as a shortstop, moved over to third base, and now playing first. Alex Bregman can still play shortstop at the major league level. We know about Altuve and Correa.
Byron Buxton, first pitch from Greinke on the inside corner, strike 1.
What a season by this guy. He's got 2 doubles, no triples, 13 homers, and 2 walks. Nobody has ever finished a season with those kind of numbers. That's Byron Buxton this year.
Nobody's ever played a season that's lasted 60 games either, which is so strange. I mean, you got to think about it, guys. We are 100 games away from what would constitute a regular season. 100 more games, and that's been brought up by a lot of folks, including Dusty Baker today. Like, you need 60 games to get warm.
Dusty used to always tell us it took him at least 50 games to get his swing right. That's almost the whole season.
0-2 to Buxton. He spoils that. So, to Tim's point, having Byron Buxton back is so important. He got hit in the head. You can see the reaction from the pitcher on Friday. And it left him not concussed, thankfully, but with headaches.
Right, and not the first time he's been hit in the head. That's why you got to be careful with this. But I repeat, his defense changes the entire defense for the Twins.
0-2, golf shot here into right field, and Byron Buxton is going to reach with a single. Pretty good pitch from Greinke.
Yeah, and that's a nice piece of hitting right there. Byron Buxton, the scouting report is you have to crowd him hard with fastballs. Zach Greinke's fastball averages around 88 miles per hour. Inside, he went with the changeup this time. Trying to get him to not even to try to chase. Kept it up a little bit, and Byron Buxton making contact and getting a base hit out of it. And now you have some speed over at first base.
The Twins are not a fast team. The only guy who can really run is Buxton. And he can run with anyone in the big leagues. I want to see him race the Freeze in Atlanta. I think it's a close race.
He's going right off the bat. Maldonado's throw not even close.
No chance right there. Zach Greinke, one of the slowest pitchers to the plate. He has a little hitch. And Byron Buxton not wasting any time. This is part of the Minnesota game plan. Not run off Martin Maldonado, who has a very good arm, but more off Zach Greinke. Look at that. 4 steps before he was even able to get rid of the baseball.
So Max Kepler now with a runner in scoring position, and that's a position that the Twins have been great in this year. Second in the American League. Batting average .276 with runners in scoring position. But he swung and missed at that. 0-2. That looked like a game plan decision, Eddie. If you get on Byron, first pitch, you're going.
You're going. And not only that, right there, he was a 1-7. That is running material time. Zach Greinke delivering that baseball to home plate. Carlos Correa has to try to keep him close. Zach is going to have to change and vary his looks to Byron Buxton. If not, they'll push and push with the Minnesota Twins.
Buxton hit a routine ground ball to the shortstop the other day, beat it out for a walk-off hit. He's home to the plate. I mean, plate to first. He's the fastest guy in the league.
Misses away. Sarah Langs is doing research for us today. That pitch that Buxton hit was 0.78 feet off the ground, which was the second lowest pitch Buxton has ever gotten a hit on. It was a good pitch.
I don't think he gets that. I don't think he hits that pitch 2 years ago, but he has made a real adjustment in his approach this year.
2-2. That one outside. K-Zone shows it. Rocco Baldelli says, I remember Zach Greinke when he was like 19 pitching for the Royals when I was playing, and there were things that he would do with the baseball that nobody could do with the baseball. And we'll see today a pitch come in around 52 miles an hour, and you don't know if a changeup is a fastball or a fastball is a changeup. He's a bit of a magician on the mound.
But he's struggled a little lately, Ravi. 6.08 ERA in September.
Yeah.
Down to first base. He ran down to first base after only 3 balls, which is a good try. But you need 4 still. The rules have changed, but not that dramatically. And not in the postseason.
I love how Zach Greinke didn't even budge. He didn't even like, where are you going? He's like, oh, he'll come back.
Eduardo, did you ever do that?
No. Not that I remember. That's good right there by Zach Greinke. He's been averaging now between 1.7 and 1.78 to home plate.
That's ball 4, and now he can take his base. And the Astros got runners at first and second here with 1 down. And Nelson Cruz, who was highlighted by Eduardo at the top, is coming to the plate.
They're going to need the boomstick to do some damage. That's what his nickname is. Carried his team for a long period of time early on. Had some knee issues. That's the right knee. Came back the following week and has really struggled. Only 2 RBIs in the last 11 games, hitting sub 200.
A bit of a marvel given his age at 40. He trails only Albert Pujols. Of active players with 19 home runs Pujols has, he's got 17 of them.
And in the regular season, the most home runs, really by far, of anyone since the start of 2014. And this year at age 40, 992 OPS, which is extraordinarily high for someone that old.
Ahead of Trout, Edwin Arenado, and JD Martinez. A 1-0.
So, Ravi, I needed to reach him on the phone in the offseason, and I was told he's not going to be easy to find. He hits every morning, and then he takes a break and eats lunch, and then he hits all afternoon. Almost 40 years old, not even knowing if we're going to play a season. He's hitting twice a day, every day.
Did you ever reach him?
I did, and he was funny, so that was good.
Kepler's at first, Buxton at second, and a chance for the Twins to get on the board first.
There you see 88 miles per hour fastball. You have to respect the off-speed pitches of Zach Greinke. He's a thinking man up there on the mound right now. If you're Byron Buxton, you're at second base, you have to be aware of a breaking ball in the dirt. Get a good secondary. Maybe try to steal 90.
He's got Altuve crowding him at second base. And a foul tip at the plate.
So, Ravi, that 992 OPS, that's Barry Bonds, Ted Williams, David Ortiz, Cap Anson, as far as guys that age to have a 992 OPS in any season. That's how productive he was, especially early.
Cruz's left shoulder and that underarm area loaded with pine tar. I believe the right shoulder's got some on it too, the way he leans that bat up against the jersey.
Oh yeah, don't want to be the clubhouse guy with this jersey.
Greinke methodical, and Greinke really important on a team that of course doesn't have Garrett Cole anymore or Verlander. 2-2, and it's a bullpen that's really young, and they are really hoping that they can get a win here and get the ball to Urquidy in game 2, and if they're able to sweep, great, and have Lance McCullers pitch game 3 if not.
I think they're going to need him for more than 60 pitches today. Let's put it that way.
Well, they're making him work right now. Going into his 19th pitch, only 1 out. They need a rollover here.
Eddie Rosario is on deck, and it's a 3-2 pitch coming to Nelson Cruz.
Buck Showalter, Walter used to always tell me, someday Nelson Cruz is going to hit the longest home run in the history of baseball. And he's hit a few close to that already.
Start of the season, a house of fire, had 13 home runs early and only 3 in his last 20 games. Folks that you saw in the ballpark are not regular paying customers. Twins employees have been allowed in, socially distanced, part of the bubble. All of these teams that are in the postseason have been in a bubble, a hotel, for the last week. So if you're the road team like the Astros, you've been in the bubble for the last week. And some of the Twins family members who are part of their bubble able to enter as well. Big pitch here in the first for Greinke, 3-2, and he walked him, and we are loaded. So a laboring Zach Greinke with 2 walks in the inning against the Twins.
And just as unpredictable as Zach Greinke is with his pitches, Rocco Baldelli is also right now with his base runners. Aggressive early on with Byron Buxton, does not have him going 3-2 until this last pitch. Already in the first inning, Rocco Baldelli sticking to that game plan, and so far Zach Greinke has not been able to get the Minnesota Twins to bite on any pitches out of the zone.
Really good postseason hitter coming to the plate, Eddie Rosario, and he is not a big strikeout guy. You see his numbers: 42 runs batted in, good for 6 in the American League. What an opportunity for the Twins early here to make a statement against the Astros and Zach Greinke in game 1, best of 3, wild card series. The concern for Astros fans, Zach Greinke was really good July, August, not good in September. And you wonder if this is a continuation of that. He'd love a ground ball to get out of this. He's 37 years old. He's been around for a long time, but you can see July and August a 2.68. In September, 6.08. Some of the peripheral numbers will tell you the ERA is a bit inflated. There was some bad luck involved in some of those numbers, but it's clear he wasn't the same guy.
Again, hitters meeting, the first thing that the Minnesota Twins most likely said is be patient. Be patient against Zach Greinke. Likes to get you to chase, and so far the discipline has paid off for the Minnesota Twins. Missing off the plate already 23 pitches this at bat, and as you said earlier, July 26th against the Mariners, he had walked 2 base runners, 2 hitters in the 3rd inning. That was the only time he had multiple walks in an inning during the regular season.
Brent Strom will go back to the dugout. This is one of the nightmare scenarios for the Astros. If Greinke doesn't give you any length and they fall behind early, just given the fact that they don't have a reliable core of starting pitchers like they've had in years past. And their bullpen is so young. Buxton's at third, Kepler at second. You saw Nelly Cruz at first. And Rosario is in a good hitter's count, 2-0. That one is ripped right at the first baseman, and a huge out as Yuli Gurriel snares it. Rosario hammered that.
Yeah, he hammered that at 100.4 miles per hour off the bat. Sometimes it pays to be good. Sometimes it pays to be lucky. That's exactly what Zach Greinke got right there. Pitch right out over the plate, changeup. Hits it right at Gurriel. Heads up by Nelson Cruz, getting back to first base.
And now, of course, Greinke has a chance to get out of this. Miguel Sano, 90 strikeouts this year, led the major leagues, 186 at bats. He had 90 strikeouts.
Doesn't chase there, 1-0. So Greinke has allowed a first inning run in 4 of his 16 playoff starts entering today. He has never allowed multiple runs in the first. And as hard as Rosario hit that last ball, this is like the king of exit velocity. I love Buck Showalter a lot. I got to believe this is somebody on the list who can hit the ball further than anyone.
Among active players, Ravi, I think he's got the biggest, strongest hands I've ever seen. You shake hands with him, it's...
You're on the IL.
We saw a shot of him talking to Altuve before the game. It was comical how different those two look. It's like me and Eddie.
Big pitch, and here's Greinke now within a strike of getting out of this mess and leaving the bases loaded. Now you can just feel how Greinke has the advantage against somebody like Sano with the arsenal that Zach has. Good job by Maldonado. What a job. Threw his chest over the baseball and made sure there was no advance with all that speed down there at third.
Absolute textbook. Deaden the ball the way he did. Keep it out in front of him.
Twins are forcing Zach Greinke to throw this fastball more often. We've seen it with Sano already, 91 mile per hour. They have not been chasing that breaking ball out of the zone.
Good take on a tough pitch. And now it's full.
Ravi, commanding the strike zone for a hitter is so important. And this first inning has been, whether they score or not, has been pretty impressive by the Twins to lay off a really clever pitcher.
Talked to a lot of pitching coaches in the league, and one thing they say about the Minnesota Twins, it's so hard to pitch to them because every hitter finds barrel consistently. Zach Greinke right now, going into his 30th pitch in this inning, is finding that out with the discipline that they've had.
Three-two, jammed him. Slow roll to third. Bregman fires. Sano out at first. And a huge play from Alex Bregman as the Twins will leave him loaded. The former great shortstop at LSU comes up with a web gem. The Twins and Greinke kind of standing by. We may take a look at this.
I think he was out. I think they got the call right. Again,
Bregman ran right off the field like, I got him. Greinke's not so sure.
This is the only play that he had barehanded. It's called the do or die, coming in, showing his arm strength. And he beat it. I think he's out. I think he's out right there. Oh, yeah.
Our first instant replay review of this 2020 postseason. An incredible play by Alex Bregman as you watch the ball there, and the foot still appears to be above the bag.
They got that call right. Try making that call in real time.
Well, we'll see how much of a momentum shifter that play was by Alex Bregman. Rocco Baldelli will join us as we continue. It's 0-0. We played one. Twins in the postseason, 1987 and 1991. They were the World Series champions. Of course, 91 featuring the incredible pitching performance of Jack Morris. So 6-25 since. They've lost 8 straight series. They've lost 16 straight games, many of whom were against the Yankees. And they're probably happy not to see the Yankees, but they've got to get off of this.
Right. They lost 13 in a row to the Yankees, but no team has ever come close to losing 16 straight postseason games. That's what they're up against today.
Sano thrown out, and now he's returned to first base. What a wild bottom half of the first with Zach Greinke throwing 30 pitches. And the Twins leaving the bases loaded. Kyle Tucker leads things off, followed by Yuli Gurriel and Carlos Correa. First pitch, ball one. Rocco Baldelli, the manager of the Twins, kind enough to join us. A heck of a first inning as far as number of pitches for Greinke. You tell me, when you come away empty there, what did you guys accomplish, Rocco?
Well, we went out there and had some good at-bats in the first inning. Obviously didn't push the runs across that we're looking for, but I think if we can go out there and get good pitches to hit and wait for them, I think we're going to be in pretty good shape, but we'll get back at them next inning.
Rocco, what has it been like watching Kenta Maeda throw this year?
Yeah, he's been a pleasure to watch. Everybody here has gotten a chance to see him from the very first start of the year. He's been a star for us. He's gone out there and simply pitched excellent. He's dominated many of his starts. In the starts where he's had to battle a little bit, he still finds ways to get into the middle of the game and later in the game. His preparation's excellent. He works as hard as anyone to put himself in this position. He's been fantastic from day one.
2-1 to Tucker inside. And lastly, in this strangest of seasons, as you get now into the postseason, how was the preparation? Was there anything different about getting ready for the postseason today? You know, did we crank fish up in the clubhouse? How did we handle that?
Yeah, there's always some Grateful Dead and some fish playing in the clubhouse. But I'll tell you what, the playoffs are always a little different. I've had an opportunity to do it as a player and now as a staff member. There's a great energy, and this year, like every other year, it's the same thing. This is the only opportunity we really don't always get a chance to have when we show up in spring training. We get a chance to play for a World Series. Our guys are excited about it, and I'm excited to watch them go.
Thanks very much for being with us, Rocco.
Thank you, guys. See ya.
That ball is hit far down the right field line, and it just is foul.
Is Fish a band?
Oh yeah, Fish is a musical group.
I'm supposed to know that?
Oh well,
everyone knows that, I'm sure.
Well, most people know it. And do you know how to spell Fish?
No, well, I know. No, I don't know how to spell the band. Phish? Is that
there's
it?
a P in there. Yep.
Look, I just found out that Leonard Skinner was a band as opposed to a guy. I thought his name was Len, like
just L-E-N.
Yeah.
Like everybody's Uncle
Formal
Len.
name Leonard. Yeah. A little late to the party on this.
That's an L-Y-N too. Tucker ended the bat, and the best center fielder in baseball, Byron Buxton, a can of corn. So we talk about the young managers in baseball. This is a great dynamic when you have Dusty Baker, who is 70, and you have Rocco Baldelli. He won 2 seasons. His 137 and 85. His win percentage is among the best. And we have Aaron Boone on the list, who twice won 100 and has his team back in the postseason this season.
And number 1 and number 5 on the list are Hall of Famers Earl Weaver and Walter Alston.
Guys, I played with Rocco Baldelli back when it was the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, and a very talented player, but even more talented in being able to communicate with his teammates, with the coaches, with the front office as a player. As a coach, he was great. And then as a manager, I talk to the players and they rave about his communication skills, knowing exactly what he wants out of them and giving them their roles exactly as he planned out in spring training. And if it alters, he makes sure that they all know.
He's a Northeast kid, a freakish athlete growing up out of Woonsocket, Rhode Island, Rocco Baldelli.
Multi-sport star.
Oh, yeah.
Common denominator of most baseball players I've ever met. Multi-sport stars. Good lesson for our younger kids. Play as many sports as you can. It'll make you a better baseball player.
Saw Maeda with the slider, then the fastball, ahead 1-2. And that's outside 94, an uptick in velocity.
Ravi, he had 10 walks and 80 strikeouts this year. I mean, that's how precise he has been.
You mentioned the fact that he faced 248 batters, retired 200 of them, so that's an 81% out rate. And there's another strikeout there. Only the presumptive Cy Young guys, Bieber and Bauer, were in that conversation. But he had a higher out rate than they did. They were about 78%. Speaking of Bieber, in Cole, how good is that going to be at 7 o'clock Eastern time? The Yankees and the Indians on ESPN. The White Sox and the A's just about set to get underway. That one on ESPN. And the Blue Jays and Rays also in action today. The Rays, the #1 seed. So they win, they get the winner of the Yankees and then the Indians. But the Blue Jays are a talented young team. They know no better. Like, why not us, right?
Absolutely. Young, energetic, athletic kids. And with no fans in the stands, maybe there's less pressure. Who knows?
That second generation infield that they have has really played big, especially down the stretch. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. starting to swing the bat, elevating the ball now in the last week of the season, and Charlie Montoya hopes that he can continue to do that.
7 of the 8 wild card series, the Fall Frenzy, will be seen on ABC, ESPN, and ESPN2. 1-1 to Correa. Fastball by him at 93. So Maeda loosening a little here in the second.
Ravi, one reason he's been so good with the Twins is they essentially told him, look, you don't have to go more than 6 innings. So just do whatever you need for 6 and we'll bring somebody else in. And even though he'd love to go more, knowing I better give him 6 is a good start.
Took something off and Correa fouls it off. Correa's been in a bit of a power drought. He homered in the finale on Sunday to the regular season, but he hadn't hit a homer in his previous 62 at-bats.
His slugging OPS and at-bat home run per at-bat was the lowest of his career in all 3 categories.
Yeah, what Carlos had is a bad month. Bad month September. You look at the on-base percentage, 207 with no runners on base. That one right there should have been called a strike. Probably sitting fastball and just could not adjust.
2-2, ready to go. And he fouls off the slider. Just a note, with DJ Rayburn behind the plate and Maeda on the mound, that's occurred 3 times. Once in 17, once in 18, and once in 19. Really small sample size. But for a guy who's so good, Maeda's ERA in games in which Rayburn has been the home plate umpire is .856.
And Eddie, pitchers and hitters know about the umpires. I mean, when you get a home plate umpire as a hitter, you're thinking, I know what to expect here, correct?
Correct. But I think in Kenta's favor here, he's a different pitcher than he was when he was with the Dodgers. A lot more breaking pitches. Would not be surprised to see another one here.
That's a walk on a fastball and a base runner. Second of the game for the Astros. Eddie, you ask this question all the time to the managers in our Zoom calls. You know, if there's one guy on the opposing team that you don't want to beat you, who would it be? he pitched a little carefully there to Correa. Perhaps he's the guy. Who would it be for you if you were facing the Astros? Can't let him beat me.
I can't let George Springer beat me. And as a leadoff hitter, and he's the catalyst guy. He's the one that gets things going for the Houston Astros. We know what he's done in the postseason. He can beat you in so many ways with his speed on the bases, even though the stolen base percentage for him has not been great overall, but the power itself and the emotional aspect. George Springer gets on, Jose Altuve becomes better. Brantley becomes more dangerous. So does Bregman.
This is Josh Reddick. That pitch is in there for a strike. Down year for Reddick as well. He's been in the postseason with the A's in 12, 13, 14, Dodgers, and now the Astros. That one's just up. K-Zone twice has called strikes, in which DJ Rayburn has called them balls.
Ravi, because he throws so many breaking balls and because he has such precise command, people don't square him up. Other than Max Fried, he has the lowest hard hit rate of any pitcher in the big leagues this year.
And he's throwing to Ryan Jeffers today instead of Mitch Garver, instead of Alex Avila. Rocco Baldelli basically said, look, we had multiple choices. In fact, we have a fourth catcher if we decide to go that way. But Jeffers has played his way into this position. And it was a hard decision, Baldelli said. Garver had one of the great years last year of any catcher. Reddick is gone. Maeda picks up his second strikeout of the inning, second of the game. Twins put pressure on Greinke in the first. Can they do it in the second?
Just tell Siri, show me the MLB postseason schedule.
Take a look at the National League games coming up. So the Brewers hurt. They don't have Corbin Burns pitching. Woodruff is not going to go in game one. Dodgers going to start Buehler in game one, Kershaw in game two?
Yes.
Cardinals sneak in. They, like the Marlins, dealt with COVID, and both of those teams make the postseason. Remarkable stories. The Braves and Reds should be fantastic in all those games on ESPN, ESPN2, and ABC. How about tomorrow? I mean, today is fabulous as we're starting the baseball postseason. All 16 teams are playing tomorrow.
Tomorrow's the greatest day of my whole life.
Your daughter just got married. You got married, but tomorrow is the greatest day of your whole life. Okay. I'm sure Kathy's watching, so that one you're going to have to deal with later. The 7-8-9, Polanco, Jeffers, and then Marwin Gonzalez for the Twins. And Zach Greinke's pitch count to 32. This is away.
He's been a little banged up lately, Polanco. 22 homers last year. It's affected his power a little bit. 4 homers this year, but still well above average shortstop in the big leagues.
Roll over to first. Gurriel will flip to Greinke for the first out. Polanco retired.
And simple play for Greinke, Ravi, but he is a great athlete. He is a great fielding pitcher, tremendous golfer, great basketball player. This thought that pitchers are not athletic, it drives me crazy. That guy, put a ball in his hand of any kind, he's going to know what to do with it.
Yeah, and it's exactly what Zach Greinke wanted. Not looking for the strikeout, looking for the soft contact. He knows that Polanco swings half the time on any pitch on the outer part of the plate. Get him to induce soft contact. He does. Let his fielders do their job, and then he does his by covering first.
Here's the catcher, Jeffers, first pitch, strike one.
You were talking about Mitch Garver. He had 31 homers in 311 at-bats last year. Only Mark McGwire's hit that many in so few at-bats. But this year, 167, 37 strikeouts and 72 at-bats. He's lost at the plate right now, and Jeffers gets the start.
0-2. Second round pick back in 2018 out of UNC Wilmington. Yeah, and I think different players were affected differently by all the protocols. As everyone has said, going on the road has been awful. I mean, you literally are in your hotel room. You don't leave. Talked to David Ross about some of his players. We've seen it with Yelich and others. I mean, certain players are motivated by the crowd. The idea that this is the show, this hasn't been the show this year.
David Ross's word was lonely.
Yeah.
It's been a lonely season, especially when you're not hitting. Go back to your hotel room and
think about not hitting.
Exactly. Right. Poor Eddie thought that way all the time.
Exactly.
Sorry, Eddie.
Oh, you know me well.
But here we are with 16 teams, more than half making the postseason, a chance to win a World Series. It will be recorded as a World Series title. 2-2 and a pitch to hit. He popped it up. Springer calling it. Now he gives way to Kyle Tucker in left field for the second out. There was a dog
right there.
Go ahead, Eddie.
And you wonder right there if the sun had anything to do with that, and Tucker had a better angle than George Springer to that baseball. Again, a 2 o'clock start. Minneapolis, hazy day right now. You don't see a lot of shadows. You don't see the players' shadows and clearly. So good communication right there by the Astros.
Marwin Gonzalez. Of course, Marwin Gonzalez was a huge part of the Astros' success back in 17. He had 30 doubles and 20 homers that year, and he played everywhere. He played left, he played right, he played third, second, first, shortstop. And a breaking ball in there for a strike. His best friends are on the Astros, and perhaps being around those guys, even in this environment, will help him a little bit. He, of course, went to Minnesota and immediately apologized to the Twins for the cheating scandal and whatever role he did or did not have in it. Hit that one hard. Smothered over there. Gurriel, Greinke, and what a different inning for Zach Greinke. He faces 3 and gets out of it. We'll see Maldonado, Springer, and Altuve as we come back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Top of the third, Carl Ravitch, Eduardo Perez, Tim Kurkjian here with the Astros and the Twins over on ESPN, just getting underway. The Chicago White Sox with Lucas Giolito on the mound against the Oakland A's and Jesus Luzardo on the mound. Kenta Maeda has been solid so far. He gets Martin Maldonado, then back to the top. Maldonado twisted his knee on Friday, and Dusty Baker was having nightmares as that ball is hammered down the line about whether Maldonado was going to be able to play or not. This was a huge deal to have him back.
Yeah, and what Kenta Maeda has been able to do early on is get these Astros hitters to, when they do hit the ball hard, so far it's been foul balls that they've been able to do that with. Only one base hit. That was on Brantley's double on changeup away.
So, Ravi, the last time we did a Houston game, we found the nickname for Martin Maldonado. Eduardo told us.
Machete.
The machete.
Because the machete, the arm. Again, the arm strength. You try to go down, he'll cut you down at second base or third. Right here, Kenta Maeda has been fantastic with his slider. No secret that that's been the success all season long. He induces soft contact. Astro hitters so far, 6 outs that they've made, all 6 have been on Maeda's slider. Base hit on the changeup, the fastball, he uses it, locates it well to all quadrants, but that slider has worked to perfection so far this afternoon.
2-2, he goes quickly with it. It looked like a changeup, and he misses low. That was a great description of soft contact. You talk about not hard hit, soft contact. Every one of those was soft contact. That'll keep the ball in the ballpark.
That's because he's got movement on virtually every pitch. Brian Schneider, who used to catch Roy Halladay used to tell him, I don't want one pitch going straight. Not one. I want movement on everything. And Maeda can do the same thing for many pitches in a row.
Ooh, fooled him, and he knew it. Strikeout number 3 for Maeda, third in his last 4 batters.
Keep looking for that fastball, and this is what you're going to get. The slider. 7 out of the 7 hitters that have gone back to the dugout have been off the slider. Again, this one just hanging right there. He made contact and we start doing a breakdown on how he missed location. Instead, Martin Maldonado gets fooled on the pitch.
Dangerous hitter on the first pitch, George Springer. He takes that one, and they'll appeal to first. First base umpire, Manny Gonzalez.
Yeah, 348 last 27 games when he swings at the first pitch. Today has not swung at the first pitch either of the first 2 at bats.
Guys, so far for George Springer, every pitch that he has seen except one has been sliders. Saw one sinker, 4th pitch of the game that was called the ball. Everything else sliders.
Ravi, we talk about you must establish your fastball command, which you all know is important, but the way the Twins teach it is throw more breaking balls. Not as many as you can, but they really, really factor that in, and Maeda's fallen right into it perfectly with their philosophy.
And when you're going to throw the fastball or the sinker, you throw it in that location. You saw right there Springer speeding up the bat. That's all he needed. Most likely he'll go back to that slider. One back fastball way in.
Springer on a pitch outside, lines it to right field. That's where Kepler is. Maeda kind of slaps his glove like he got away with one, but that's 2 down. Of course, Wes Johnson, the former college coach, moved from the SEC to the major leagues, and he's been outstanding. And he's sort of led I wouldn't call it a parade, but there's definitely an influx of former college coaches, especially on the pitching side, that have impacted the major leagues. Back to Altuve, who flew out to right his first time up.
And among Altuve's issues this year, Ravi, he's hit .218 against the fastball. Last year, hit .305. It's an enormous drop, and he's having trouble with the ball up in the strike zone, upper third.
That one's in there, and there's a pitch that usually you'd see Altuve drive. And he kind of gave you the indication.
He was guessing. He was guessing soft, and all of a sudden he goes with the fastball. Now he's like, what do I look for now? Just look for the ball and trust your hands.
Another one.
So after all those off speeds, exactly. So 3 straight fastballs to Altuve. Maybe he knows the numbers aren't great against the heater either this year.
Eddie, what do you attribute the numbers there to? Why struggling with fastballs? Is it guessing? Is it a guessing game for him right now?
Oh, it's completely a guessing game. And again, what happened in the offseason? Altuve showed how human he was. This time, just mentally not in it. I don't think he was focused enough at the plate, and he had the confidence. It was a rough offseason for every Astro, and I don't blame the fans at all for calling them out.
2-2, end of the bat, more frustration. A Maldonado strikeout, a Springer fly out to right, and an Altuve pop out to center. We're back to the top for the Twins as we head to the bottom of the third. Minnesota Twins got a couple of stars there. Joe Mauer was the American League MVP on the right. Paul Molitor, of course, the Hall of Famer. Twins employees in the building, masked, socially distanced as well. As we start the bottom of the third, and Minnesota had success in the first, though they didn't score, and the bases loaded, and Greinke was able to get out of it.
Speaking of old Twins, there are certain people in Minnesota that compare Luis Arraez to Rod Carew. At least there's some similarities. Now let's understand, he's not Rod Carew. Talk about a magician at the plate. Hands like water, flat bat. Oh.
Breaking ball, and Arraez fouls that off. Smooth play over there by Watkins, the first base coach. Fired it into the bullpen.
44 pitches thrown so far for Zach Greinke. 18 of them have been strikes in that strike zone. Trying to get guys to chase out of it. Tough task with this team.
A little Juan Soto like shaking the head at Greinke, like, nope, no, I got that. See the head shake?
Not quite as pronounced, but there's some Soto in there.
It's too bad he had such a down year. He is so great.
Youngest batting champion in the history of the National League.
3-2. Hittable pitch, and this one to left field. They shaded them that way. Kyle Tucker a few steps back, and he makes the play. The MLB app is the one place to get everything for your favorite team's chase to the pennant, including video highlights, pitch tracking, and much more. Download the MLB app today for the postseason in your pocket.
Ravi, we showed Joe Mauer a minute ago, and Joe Mauer was such a great hitter. He would take strike one all the time because he could get out of that. Byron Buxton was that way, and this year he said, look, I'm not taking strike one anymore. I'm not getting behind in the count because when I do, I strike out way too much, and he's made that adjustment, and it's really proven a good thing for him.
Big swing, and Buxton misses that one.
Got to be careful with Byron Buxton and breaking pitches. That's one pitch that he's been able to hit really well this year and do some serious damage with. First time he faced him, it was mostly fastballs. This time starts him off with a breaking ball.
And then a changeup, and now he's ahead. 0-2.
Just tells you right there, if you look at the power, 7 home runs, hitting .340, the slugging .809 compared to last year's .393. He's been more aggressive early on in the last 5 years. Excuse me.
Ravi, I had a talent evaluator tell me that his defense is so good, they go up 1 letter grade when he plays. In other words, they're a C defense if he doesn't, and a B if he does. A B or an A, however you want to put it. That's how much he does for that defense.
For all the really good center fielders, Kiermaier, Bradley, Inciarte, and others, I've had many tell me this is the best defensive center fielder in the game.
It's one of the most breathtaking parts of the game is watching him streak across the outfield and make a catch.
Chases cheese from Greinke. He's gone. Zach Greinke, after a bumpy first inning, has now retired 7 in a row.
Good elevated fastball right there after throwing him off speed after off speed. Gets him to chase out of the zone. An effective pitch, competitive pitch that he threw. Byron could not hold on to that.
Ball one to Kepler, who's batting third for the first time this year. If you weren't with us at the top of the telecast, Josh Donaldson, who appeared to aggravate his nagging calf injury, turns out he did more than aggravate it. They're concerned that he did some significant damage to it, enough that he's not on the wild card roster, so he will not appear in any of these 3 games. They're hoping that they advance, obviously, and he's able to come back.
It's been a chronic issue. This is not a one-time thing with that calf injury.
Eddie, you could see Kepler saw that pitch the entire time and fouled it off because of the pitch that it was.
Yeah, it was a changeup, 71.6 miles per hour. I mean, you're used to, you think about it, fastballs around 88. We're looking at almost a 16, 17 mile per hour difference. And what Greinke has said in the past is he holds his grip, that changeup grip, and he tries to throw it as hard as he can, not taking away from the arm action.
Eddie, with the velocity that we see every night in baseball, to see a guy throwing, below that velocity with a real good idea what he's doing, he's got a real chance to succeed because he's not throwing that hard.
And when he's on top of his game, when he locates the entire time and he's able to throw not 1, 2, 3 pitches, 4 strikes, it's virtually impossible to guess along with him. Very smart.
Good take by Kepler. And he's aboard. Kepler was born in Berlin, Germany. Both his parents were professional ballet dancers when they met and performed in the same ballet. He's an athletic kid, too.
I've asked him about that, and he said his footwork is pretty good because of what he got from mom and dad.
No doubt. There's Nelson Cruz. He walked his first time up. It was all part of that bases loaded first inning. That Bregman defensive play is looming real large. He made a barehanded cross the diamond throw to get Miguel Sano for the 3rd out with the bases loaded. And Greinke has been able to get around that and settle in. You never know how big the play is going to be until the game plays out, but this was huge, and he was playing fairly deep against the big fella Sano. He threw him out by a hair with the bases loaded, prevented a run, ended the inning. And as you have circle games each year, that's a circle play in this game so far.
Yeah, guys, and don't forget, Kepler also pretty fleet-footed at first base. Greinke, last time they had a run at first, it was Buxton to lead off the inning. He stole on the first pitch. 1-4-7 to the plate. He's in scoring position right now. 2 outs. Nelson Cruz at the plate. I let Nolly hit. Outfield should be playing deep. No doubles in this situation with 2 outs. Even though it's early in the game with 2 outs, you want to play deep with a runner at first base.
Cruz hits this one hard to right field. Going back and looking up is Reddick. It goes off the bottom of the wall, bounces over his head. Kepler is being waved in. Here he comes. Safe! What a slide by Kepler, and Cruz knocks in the first run of the game. It's 1-0 Twins.
That's one of the big reasons why with 2 outs you have to play deep. Josh Reddick I mean, you have to put at least 2-3 steps away from the track with 2 outs. Instead, this ball's hit, barreled right there from Nelson Cruz, power to all parts. Ball hits the base of the wall, then goes right over Josh Reddick, allowing Max to score from first base. Upon contact, he's gone with 2 outs. Good slide to the outer part of the plate. No chance for Martin Maldonado, who has to give him and show him the plate before he gets the ball. Nicely done. And Nelson Cruz, the leader, is the one driving in the first run for the Minnesota Twins.
Well, I don't know if it was a bad break or misplayed, but as soon as that ball bounced over Reddick's head, Kepler had no hesitation at third base. He was waved in.
And he's got to know he's going. Not a real sense of urgency there by Josh Reddick on that play.
Ball was hit 105.9 miles per hour, 19-degree launch angle, 70% hit rate on that one. Again, 2 outs, play deep. Anything in front of you falls, guess what? You'll still have runners at first and third with still a chance to shut it down.
Outside. Well, you mentioned it, Eddie, at the top. Boomstick, also known as Nelson Cruz, had to deliver for them, and he has. And he has been a postseason monster in his career. This is his 45th career postseason game. He now has 36 runs batted in.
As you said, Ravi, 17 homers.
17
Albert
homers.
Pujols has 19, most among active players.
Rosario popped that one straight up. Springer says, I got it. And the Astros will come off the field, but they'll come off the field trailing 1-0. Thanks to that guy, Nelson Cruz, a rocket to right that Reddick had a hard time picking up. And once it bounced over his head, Max and his ballet feet used the hand to touch home. You're watching the 2020 Wild Card Series presented by Hankook Tire. 1981, when they split the season in 2, they had a bracket type format. We have a bigger bracket with 16 teams qualifying for the 2020 postseason. You got 2 teams, the Brewers and the Astros, with sub 500 records. You get the sense that maybe next year, instead of 16, they have 14. And the #1 overall team will get a bye. But I don't think we say goodbye to the expanded postseason. First pitch popped up. Easy play. Maeda 1 down as he retires Brantley. What do you think? A little expanded postseason here to stay? What do you think? I know you have your opinion, but what do you think about the game?
I'm all in favor of 16 playoff teams this year. I'm totally against 16 playoff teams next year. To me, it takes away from the integrity of the regular season. And if you're going to play 162, that first place team that wins 110 shouldn't have to play that 3-game series. And having sub 500 teams in the playoffs, sorry, is not a great look. This year it's fine. Next year for 162, I don't like the idea.
What about 14? Or are you just out on all of any expansion?
I mean, I'll listen to anything. I'll go to 12. I just think 10 works.
Eddie, I see a big smile on the Zoom camera. A big smile.
Anytime you can put brackets like that, I think it plays not only for the players but also for the fans. And it is so much fun to be able to see all these teams in it and battle for an entire month to see who comes out on top. I get it. I think the best record should have a bye, so I'm okay with 14 teams next season, giving that best record in the National League and American League that first round bye.
Forget I'm okay. I'm enthusiastically endorsing 14.
Absolutely, yeah.
more cities, more fan bases, postseason baseball.
If you look at the last week of the regular season, as a matter of fact, the last series of the regular season, we had all but 4 games that mattered and where a team was going to play or if they were even going to be making the wild card. All in.
Look, the cheating, self-induced, obviously. It is interesting to watch the way that we watch the Astros and their persona and their bravado, and it is absolutely missing.
I don't see the arrogance that they had last year, and I think arrogance is pretty important once in a while in baseball. You better think I can beat that guy on the other side, and that's exactly how the Astros have felt for years, and I just didn't sense that same sort of arrogance, that same sort of bravado this year.
Asked Dusty about that today. He said that chip that we played with, or players like Bregman and Altuve played with, in his opinion, and this guy has been around, he said only time can bring that chip back.
Well, Dusty would know. He's a very wise, worldly man.
How about a little update on the White Sox and the A's? That's Kevin Connors in our studio today. That game currently on ESPN. And the Yankees and the Indians tonight at 7 Eastern time on ESPN. You'll be able to see the scores of the other games. There'll be some overlapping for sure in the upper right hand part of your screen. So Chicago leading Oakland 1-0, bottom 2. The A's dealing, of course, with Matt Chapman not being a part of their team with his injury. And how big a blow that is to that team. It is akin to Donaldson not being part of the Twins. They just don't have the offense that the rest of the Twins have in Oakland. They can pitch. But boy, what a story the White Sox have been all year, huh? So you take a look at Josh Donaldson. Kyle Tucker appealed to third, and Ron Culpo, the crew chief, says no.
And they will really miss Donaldson's defense at third, even more than his offense at third.
Marcell Ozuna stepped in Atlanta for Donaldson, who left Atlanta for 4 years and $92 million to play in Minnesota. Tucker flew off to center as we watch Bregman get a lead off at first. He's been hot his last 7, 9 for 26, his last 30. 339 average. Great play by Sano to get Bregman on a foul ball. Great play. For a second, like Bregman, wait, what? Am I out? What happened?
Let's see if Kenta Maeda here goes with the fastball up now against Tucker, just out of the zone to then be able to use that off-speed pitch to get him to commit. Tucker has been known to chase fastballs up in the zone.
On the ground, that's through. Bregman will hit second. He'll round and go no. He'll stay at second. A seeing eye single for Kyle Tucker. And the Astros with one out have first and second.
Decided to go with the off-speed pitch, the changeup, and Kyle Tucker, seen one too many of those, still staying with the same velocity. He's able to get some good wood on it and find the hole with the shift. Getting through the shortstop and second baseman. Sometimes it pays off when they're shifting on you.
Polanco could not make the play. Tucker continues his good hitting for the year and now the postseason, and a dangerous hitter, Yuli Gurriel. Just signed another one-year extension today, agreed to a one-year $7 million deal to stay with the Astros.
Gurriel hit 154 in September, yet Dusty said he saw a couple of swings, a couple at bats over the weekend that gave him hope that he's starting to swing it again.
The old BABIP, batting average balls in play. Dusty said they should have been a lot higher. He hit the ball really hard and just hit it at a lot of guys. So you write that down, Tim. 3:38 Eastern time, our first BABIP reference.
That's a little later than I thought.
Worst batting average in September, and Yuli's on the list. Sano, of course, is in this one. Luis Robert looked like he forgot how to hit.
I mean, these are all really good players, too. That's the point. It shows you how difficult baseball can be. You get off in your timing a little bit, and good hitters hit 130 for a month.
Well, that the two Rookie of the Year candidates really struggled in the month of September. Kyle Lewis and Luis Robert.
Eddie, as rare as he throws it, you don't get the impression, I don't, that Maeda has had command of his fastball either. He's pulled a few of them.
Yeah, glove side, he's pulled a few. And he's shown his frustration with it too.
At 71 pitches,
coming off the fastball.
71 pitches in 4 innings is not like him this year.
Gurriel struck out his first time up, and Maeda and Jeffers trying to get on the same page with a runner at second. Occasionally see signs change.
He's really concerned with Alex Bregman at second base.
The 2-1. And that ball is driven to center field. It's going to stay up for Buxton. And Bregman retreats. Hit hard, but the second out of the inning.
Big job or small, you make sure things get done right. It's not a competition. It's just that you're not willing to settle. Not in your work, not in your hobbies, and never with your bourbon. Evan Williams. Bourbon done right.
So 2 on, 2 down, top of the 4th.
And that's one of those hard hit balls Dusty was talking about by Gurriel, where he's just not hitting in good luck. Those things tend to change. They do change, right, Eddie?
Yeah, they do. They do, but we saw early on in the game, we saw Zach Greinke luck out on a line drive, hit hard to Yuli Gurriel, helping him to get out of it. Now, but I like this right here. I like that Kenta Maeda is concerned with Alex Bregman at second base. Let's face it, he's been with the Dodgers. He understands everything. He wants to make sure that Jeffers, who is 23 years of age, first time in the postseason, understands how important it is to be able to mix up the signs behind the plate. I mean, Kenta Maeda right there took charge in that meeting.
A very relevant question from DJ Rayburn. He asked Ryan Jeffers when he went back there, did you need a translator out there? Now, Maeda does all of his press conferences with a translator. It's clear they have the ability to communicate, if not speak the English language there for Jeffers, or Jeffers understands Japanese, but I got to believe there was some English. And that was not just a quick, what about this? Let's change number 3 to number 2 on this card.
Yeah, and obviously a little strategy. How do we attack Correa? But a lot of the Japanese players that I played with, they can communicate well with the players, especially Maeda, who's been in the major leagues for quite some time. Now, when it comes to the media, they'll use the translator, and I don't blame them. Watch right here. That's the game plan. How do we attack Carlos Correa, making sure they get everything straight? Don't read my lips here. 2-0 count. Carlos Correa has to be sitting right now. And I don't blame Carlos Correa if he sits for a hanging slider. That's that one pitch that Kenta Maeda has been able to throw for a strike and locate well.
3-0 to Correa. Again, Reddick is on deck. Last time, Eddie, he walked Correa, and he struck out Reddick.
Again, Ravi, Maeda walked 10 guys all year. He's got 2 walks so far, and it's 3-0 on this guy.
Bases are loaded with Astros for Josh Reddick. Maeda's 3rd walk of the game, and that is the most walks in any game this year. Now we'll bring the translator out with Wes Johnson, the pitching coach.
And if I'm not mistaken, if the translator would have came out to help out also there with Jeffers and Maeda, that would have counted as a visit. So you have to be able to communicate one-on-one with the pitcher at that point. And now Wes Johnson using the translator with Jeffers to make sure they get it right here with the bases loaded.
Well, scouting report on Josh Reddick is that he does not like the pitches that are up. He loves the pitches that are in. He's got a chance with Bregman at 3rd, Tucker at 2nd, and Correa at 1st. Change this game around here on the top of the 4th. Maeda's 77th pitch. In there for strike 1.
Oh, that's the pitch right there. Hanging slider, 83 miles per hour. See Josh Reddick. That's how you know when players show a little frustration trying to clean the dirt out of those cleats. There's no dirt under there. That's how you able to show a little emotion. This ball's supposed to be hit a long way.
Again, Eddie, the scouting report likes them in, doesn't like them up, and that one was up a little bit.
Yeah, but up and soft up.
Yeah.
Having enough time to catch it out front.
What does he throw here with speed at 3rd? Does he risk a slider in the dirt, change up in the dirt?
Well, he's got such good control of every pitch. If he goes out of the zone, it might just be for a fastball to reset everything to go soft then again. There it is. Now he can climb the ladder, or he can go with the slider down.
Matt Whistler is warming in the Minnesota bullpen. Whistler and Romo and Duffy and Rogers have all been part. Tyler Clippard have been part of a bullpen that has been very solid, a 3.62 ERA.
Deep and versatile. Whistler, of course, former starting pitcher, could give them some length if Maeda gets in trouble more than he is now.
0-2, they're set up, and Reddick will not chase.
I like what Jeffers did there. He's like, no, if you're going to miss out of the zone. Don't miss where you missed on the last 0-2 pitch.
So Eduardo, what does he throw here?
Well, he's got options. He can go again back up, or he can go with that changeup down and away.
Got him. Reddick leaves him loaded. He threw it up, and Maeda barks at himself as he walks off the mound. Punches that glove one more time. He's got as many walks as he's had all year, but he's been able to dance around it with 4 strikeouts. In the app, Game 1, Yankees and Indians. Garrett Cole, Shane Bieber, Progressive Field. Marquee pitching matchup for sure. Cole 7-3, Bieber 8-1. Shane Bieber is the Cy Young winner and will be, I imagine, unanimous, right?
Absolutely.
The Rays and the Blue Jays at 5 o'clock Eastern time today. White Sox off to an early lead. They lead the A's 1-0 on ESPN in the top of the 3rd. As we go full 16-team bracket, 8 American, 8 National League in this 2020 postseason. Best of 3. And the A's are now down 3-0. We'll get you an update on another home run from the Chicago White Sox that just happened over on ESPN. 3-0 now White Sox. And an update from Kevin in a minute. Miguel Sano, Jorge Polanco, and Ryan Jeffers due up for the Twins, who lead at 1-0 thanks to a Nelson Cruz RBI double in the 3rd. The way this thing started, did you have, through 4 innings, Maeda throwing more pitches than Zach Greinke?
Not after the first inning. Just goes to show you how much of an artist Zach Greinke is. He's not Greg Maddux. Nobody's Greg Maddux, but there's some Greg Maddux in there.
Sano, a little squibber, and that is fielded and caught in the air by Gurriel. He's kind of a methodical artist, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like, if you're looking for the painting to be done in a couple of days, it's probably going to be a month or so. Methodical.
Yeah, he's going to do it. He's going to do it at his own pace.
Yep.
And he'll tell you when it's ready.
We saw Matt Whistler warming for the Twins. The Astros get a little activity in their bullpen. That pitch is really close, but it's ball 1. The left-hander Brooks Raley getting set for Houston. This is one of the big questions coming into this series. How does Dusty Baker and company manage the starters and the bullpen?
And remember, Ravi, last year at this time he had Verlander, Cole, and Greinke as his 3, so he could count on length from the starters. And he had a closer, Ozuna, who's not there now, and he had some middle guys, Will Harris and others. He doesn't have any of those guys now, and it's been a real challenge to figure out his pitching staff. He and Brent Strom have done a great job getting it to this point.
Now, the idea that you attribute the Astros season to the cheating scandal and discount the lack of availability of Verlander, who initially said, I don't think I'm going to need surgery, to I'm going to need surgery, and Cole, who's a Yankee, and Osuna, who's gone, and Yordan Alvarez, who's not there. That's a humongous part of this. Pop up, Tucker underneath it, and 2 quick outs for Greinke here in the 4th. And that'll bring up Jeffers, the catcher, who popped out to left his first time up.
It's interesting, Ravi, with the expanded rosters. Of course, the Astros have 3 catchers, and the Twins have 4 catchers. Don't see that very often.
No. 28 men on each roster in this wild card series.
That just tells you Rockaballi Deli will not hesitate at all to pinch hit for Jeffers late in the game if they need it. Maybe with Alex Avila. You got Williams Astudillo also there that is a super utility guy, not only on the field but even in the clubhouse. One of the most personable guys you can meet, entertaining in every way, fan favorite for the Minnesota Twins.
And puts the ball in play and doesn't strike out.
That bun's working too.
Just another reminder, baseball comes in all shapes and sizes.
Absolutely.
And if you have the skills, you can play it.
You need a different size helmet just to fit that bun in there. And obviously Mitch Garver last year.
It's just funny. You watch Astudillo go by, and then Sano comes past, and I'm thinking, imagine if you had to walk around that clubhouse. You get lost in there. They're just giants. They're huge.
I've said it a million times, Ravi. The biggest change for me in the 41 years I've covered is how big the players are now. You stand next to Miguel Sano now, it's
you get eclipsed. I mean, you can't see anything.
I will say this. Tony Diaz, the third base coach for the Minnesota Twins, just whiffed on that little slow roller at third base. He's not going to get by without me calling him out. That ball, he's hearing it too from the dugout. And Chris Spires, who coaches first base for the Houston Astros, didn't field one cleanly, and he was one of the sure-handed shortstops back in the day with the Giants and the Expos. Oh, yeah. That play had to be made.
The Bregman play is the best defensive play we've seen. We've now focused on an error by a third base coach and a Miguel Sano force out at first on a foul ball. That's where we're at. 2-2, and that one is headed towards the seats.
You know, Ravi, with the no fans in the stands, another thing we've gathered from this year is how often a pitcher grunts when he throws. Because you can hear it now, whereas you couldn't hear it before. Nolan Ryan was one of the great grunters ever. You could hear him even with the crowd there, but Greinke does it a lot. You hear it all the time. And why wouldn't you? It's a pretty violent motion.
.68 miles an hour.
Slowest pitch so far. Thrown one at 71 miles per hour to Polanco earlier this inning. Usually he comes with a fastball out of the zone right now to follow up on it.
He does, and that one is hit hard on the line to left, and it stays low enough that Kyle Tucker can make an easy play on it. Greinke, a 1-2-3 inning. Heading to the fifth for Maeda, back on the mound. Kenta Maeda signed an 8-year deal for $25 million with the Dodgers, and there was a lot. I mean, it could have been worth $106 million based on number of starts, etc. Hugely incentive-laden. He ended up being a bullpen guy and a valuable one. And then in 2020 with the Twins, he gets the nod as the starter. That 0.75 whip is the third lowest in the expansion era, and he's been every bit of what you'd expect so far today. He's kept the Astros completely off balance, and he's worked into the fifth inning as the Twins try to end a 16-game postseason losing streak. By mistake, you'd figure you'd win one.
By far the longest losing streak in postseason history.
So Whistler has sat down. Looks like Trevor May is warming up now in the Twins bullpen. And the first pitch to Maldonado, strike one.
You can't say it enough times, Ravi. 72% of the pitches he throws are breaking balls.
Yep.
And because he can throw variations of each one of those off-speed pitches, just guessing with him is not easy to do. Deep, versatile bullpen with a bunch of strikeout guys.
2-1. Well, that was part of the conversation around Major League Baseball's postseason. What is going to be the secret to success? Is it going to be the deepest starting staffs? Is it the deepest and most versatile bullpen with all the games bunched up and no days off in between? What do you think the secret to success is going to be? After the 2-1, 2-2.
Well, you better not overwork your bullpen early because you're going to need it late. And this is, I think we need to depend on our starting pitchers to go a little bit longer. We have given them a bit of a pass last few years, which I don't think is a great idea. We've used our bullpen so often, but you better be careful not to burn those guys out before they get to the World Series.
I think it's going to be starting pitching. Starting pitching is going to dictate how the bullpen is going to be used. You need your starters to go at least 6 innings.
Fifth strikeout. Let's get an update on that White Sox game and how they added to their lead, Kevin. Yeah, and you can also see the 0 in that hit column, and that's Lucas Giolito, who's on the mound for the White Sox. Who threw one of those no-hitters this year.
How about the White Sox? How comfortable do you think they feel against left-handed pitching? You had said it earlier, 14-0 against left-handed starters this season. Adam Engel capitalizing, and then their leader, Jose Abreu, adding to it.
This ball is hit hard to center field. Buxton is shy of the track, and Springer is retired with a long fly to center. All right, authentic caps, tees, jerseys, hoodies, and more. You can get all your postseason gear and cheer on your team at home with the official source, MLBshop.com.
And Ravi, just to finish the point, one reason the Nationals won the World Series last year is they went to those 3 big starting pitchers and said, you guys are pitching all the time. You're going to pitch
like
and relief.
41% of the innings?
Yeah, and they basically used 5 pitchers the entire postseason. And those 3 guys, granted they're all really good, said, give me the ball, let's go. And that's what Trevor Bauer is saying with the Reds right now. Give it to me more often, not less often.
2 down, Altuve. Strike 1. Last time we did the Astros, Eddie, Altuve was really struggling, and that concept of connectivity between top and bottom half we brought up, that swing there kind of looked a little disconnected.
Yeah, he was guessing. Remember last time he let go of 2 fastballs right down the middle, took them, so he was trying to ambush him there on a fastball. This time he throws him the changeup. 84 miles per hour.
So how come, Eddie, you become like, was he always a guess hitter? Like, why are you saying he's guessing? He's guessing.
Well, Jose Altuve has always had short arms. He's always been able to get to the ball. He's always had a great hand-eye coordination to do so. And this year, his strikeout numbers are up, and his swings just aren't as aggressive. He seems like he's on the heels all the time, and we saw it right there with that swing.
Maeda, good inning, and smart of all the Twins to defer to Sano when he's coming in to get the ball. Let him have it. Let the big fella eat. We're back. Conversation on the Twins bench with Kenta Maeda, the translator, Wes Johnson. Maybe a discussion about whether he comes back out. The Astros have made their decision, and Framber Valdez is now on the mound. He had a breakout season in 2020. You see his numbers there. He last pitched on the 22nd of September against Seattle. Went 7 innings, gave up a run on 5 hits. He's a 26-year-old. And you can give him a little length here. Obviously, you got to face at least 3, but this is a starter who is now going to be used in relief. Looks like Jose Urquidy is in line for game 2, and Lance McCullers game 3 if there is one. Marwin Gonzalez, and then back to the top of the order.
Revy, we talk all the time about how pitching usage changes in October. And here we're in the first game, and they've already got a starter in the game because they have to. If they lose tomorrow, is an elimination game.
Yeah.
You got to go now.
This had to have been pre-planned from the Houston Astros. Zach Greinke going 4 innings in this one. Marwin Gonzalez now in the second at-bat, last hitter. Really, a lot of people would be surprised. Zach Greinke's been a number 1 for so long, a lot of experience. Just a lot of soft contact so far this afternoon.
Look, I'm sorry, fellas. He's a borderline Hall of Famer, Zach Greinke. He's got to go more than 79 pitches in game 1 of a 3-game series like this when you have uncertainty in the bullpen, young uncertainty.
Good breaking ball in there for a strike, 2-1. He got the last 4 he faced, including a 1-2-3. Bottom of the 4th did Greinke. So I'm just curious, Eddie, do you think this is a decision, as you said, that was predetermined, meaning like the scoreboard, the number of pitches, second or third time through the order? What do you mean this was pre-decided?
Well, you have Marwin Gonzalez, who's the 9-hole hitter in this one, and the way they see it is most likely they don't want him, that's Zach Greinke, to face this lineup a 3rd time. And pre-decided from the front office. Dusty Baker, the way he's managed his entire career, I know it's not coming from him. And now you're putting in Framber Valdez, who does not have a feel yet for this game, to go through the gauntlet right here. Again, we talked about soft contact and what Zach Greinke has been able to do this afternoon, keeping guys off balance. You saw it right there early on with the bases loaded. The guys have been hitting the ball on the ground softly. The defense played for him. Kenta Maeda, same thing. Pitches might be up, but the bottom line is this. Old school baseball has prevailed so far this afternoon in Target Field. Maeda, Greinke pitching to contact.
And now that you have a new pitcher on, wherever Greinke or Maeda was landing, it didn't appear as if Framber Valdez was pleased with the landing spot. So the grounds crew at Target Field is going to come out and do a little maintenance.
And part of the routine, you see this a lot, especially when a left-hander comes into the game. Look what Kenta Maeda does to prepare to make sure. 7 steps, and then he marks it right there to make sure that he falls right in that same landing spot the entire time. Zach Greinke pitching from the same area. He wanted to make sure that he identified his landing spot. Framber Valdez, in this case, shorter legs, left-handed pitcher. Most likely that extension a little bit shorter. He needs to be able to feel that spot so he can execute his pitch as well.
You know, we've experienced enough baseball and you've seen enough, Tim, where the starting pitcher will argue with the manager sometimes about the decision to take him out of the game. You do wonder what Zach Greinke's opinion about that decision is.
His opinion is, I want to stay in the game. I've got more than this, but this is how much things have changed. I'll tell you again. Jim Palmer said Earl Weaver wants him tired, and Earl said, no, you're not. You're staying in.
4 more wild card games tomorrow on ESPN. Remember, 7 games total on ESPN tomorrow, but 4 of them on ESPN. The others on ABC and ESPN2. Reds Braves will start game 1 noon Eastern. Game 2 White Sox and A's. Game 2 Yankees and Indians. And we will be on with the Brewers and Dodgers at 10 Eastern time. Each game available streaming live on the ESPN app. Game 2 of this series on ESPN2 at 1 o'clock tomorrow.
Ravi, all these teams have their numbers on when we're going to get the pitcher out of the game. And it really doesn't matter what we're watching during the game. Maeda this year every start he's made has been at least 80 pitches, and only once has he gone more than 94. So that's where the range is.
And so unique. The starting pitcher puts a mask on and goes and sits in the first row where there are no fans.
Yeah. And I'll tell you right now, that's not one happy guy. He understands, he respects what the numbers are, but he is not happy at all being taken out of this game already. Framber Valdez has one of the really good breaking pitches in the game also. That curveball has great vertical drop. See the numbers for Zach Greinke, only 2 hits, 1 run, 1 earned. He did walk 3, but in 4 innings, 79 pitches. I'll say, having watched Dusty Baker, that call did not come from him.
And Valdez has thrown a whole bunch of balls and no strikes. He is one of the great ground ball to fly ball ratio guys. In fact, his ground ball rate is 60%. He generated 114 ground balls, which was the most in the American League. And he walked
the Astros
Gonzalez.
are looking for one now. They're looking for one right now.
And that's another close pitch. It's been a tight zone for DJ Rayburn. The K zone has shown a lot of pink. And when it's pink, the K zone is telling us that that's a strike. And there have been a bunch of those today that have been called balls.
Yeah, a lot of misses on the top part of the zone.
3-0. 3-1. Gets another one in there. 3-2. Did you see Perez dance? Did you see the dance?
Yeah, I saw her eyes dance right there. Oh, yeah, he's feeling it.
Watch the feet move here, Eddie. This is a move that would make our resident dance expert, Tim Kirkshin. Watch the feet, Tim. Look. Yeah. Yes. Perez, he didn't bite at that. He'll sprint to first, and Framber Valdez has come on in relief of Greinke and walked the first 2.
Again, Ravi, that's Luis Arraez, who never strikes out and fights off everything. And with such plate discipline, he worked a walk there.
So Brent Straub's going to come on out and talk to Valdez. And this only will exacerbate those who are in the dugout or in the first row who were not in agreement, likely, with the decision to pull the starting pitcher.
Look, there's a balance to be had. All right, we saw it, Houston Astros, when they beat the LA Dodgers and Morton was on the mound. The call was not to have Morton on the mound at the time, but A.J. Hinch and Alex Cora on the bench were like, we're riding this as long as we can because what we're seeing with our eyes is special. Charlie Morton took care of business for the last inning and the last out there at Dodger Stadium. Right now, Zach Greinke was feeling it. He was getting in his groove, had retired his last 4 hitters, was locating well, and they did not trust their eyes. They went with a decision that was premeditated, done ahead of time. And right now, they have runners at first and second, 2 walks. Zach Greinke in the front row. That's a big old W-O-W, wow.
And after 2 straight walks, you got to think he's going to try to throw a strike. Buxton has been jumping the first pitch recently. We'll see what he does here.
4 homers his last 7 games, and it's an off-speed pitch, and he may have been thinking fastball. Strike 1.
Buxton's had a lot of success with that breaking pitch, the curveball. Been able to hit 7 home runs already off that breaking pitch. We showed it earlier. Cole Calhoun, Mike Trout, also with 7 home runs off the breaking pitch this season.
It's an interesting reaction from Maldonado on a foul ball.
Wonder if that knee grabbed on him a little bit with that move.
Elevated, he fouled it off.
Yeah, Byron right there came out of a strong position. Saw the pitch was up.
He may have tweaked that. Remember, he hurt that right knee last week of the regular season. Dusty watched him and said there's no way he's going to be able to play in the postseason, and he's back. It's such an important part of his team. 2-2, nobody out, 2 on. That's in there. Strike 3. Buxton gone. Good breaking pitch from Valdez. Kevin's got an update for us in the studio. Tell he's feeling really good. Meantime, Wendelken has come on in relief for Oakland, so Jesus Luzardo out of the game for the A's.
Beauty of baseball. The White Sox lost 7 out of 8 to finish. Went from 3 ahead to the number 7 seed. So far, they're taking it to the A's.
Okay, guys, you look at the Greinke numbers. First pitch through 79 pitches this season, 242 opponent's batting average. From the 80th pitch on, 343. The Astros know that. The OPS at an 818. That's if I'm not mistaken, a Valley area code. And they said, nope, we don't want to go there.
Kepler jam shot holds up for Tucker, and Valdez has bounced back after the 2 walks to get 2 outs. But, which I understand, Eddie, the question is going to be, how do you, if you're Zach Greinke or any other pitcher, change those numbers if you don't get a chance to pitch in that situation.
And again, this is where the game has gone, and it's not only the Houston Astros. And we talk all the time about analytics, and the players understand it to a certain extent until it happens to them, and they want to compete and they want to be in there. But the way the front office sees it is, we've gotten ourselves to this position by believing in the numbers, so we're going to continue to win and lose with those numbers.
Nelson Cruz, the only RBI of the game. First pitch right down the middle, 94 miles an hour, strike one. This was it in the third inning with Max Kepler on first base. It went over the head of Reddick, and then it bounced over the head of Reddick again. Kepler slid in with that left hand, touching the bag before Maldonado could get the glove on him. And that's where we are now, 1-0 Twins. Cruz, slow roller. Bregman, is he going to do it again? Yes, he is. No problem. And Alex Bregman, a couple of barehanded plays. It's 1-0 as we head to the sixth. Back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. You're watching the 2020 Wild Card Series. It's presented by Hankook Tire. In the studio here in Bristol, Connecticut with Tim Kirkshin, I'm Carl Ravitch. Eduardo Perez joining us from the home studio in Miami, Florida. All right, battle of the bullpens moving forward. Trevor May comes on in relief of Kenta Maeda. 24 games at 3.86 ERA. He appeared twice last year in the 19 ALDS against New York, a scoreless inning and 1 hit allowed.
38 strikeouts in 23 1/3.
That's a first pitch fastball. The K zone's going to show, Tim, a little pink.
These are the killer T's in that bullpen. They have a Trevor, 2 Tylers, and a Taylor. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw all 4 of those guys in this game.
Michael Brantley, and that's just 96.
This is how the game works now, Ravi. Guys come out of the bullpen firing with a strikeout per inning average. They're everywhere.
And with no injuries, both starters out of the game already. We're in the top of the 6th inning. It's a 1-0 game. The game has definitely evolved.
Easy play for Sano. That one came in 10 miles slower at 86 miles an hour. And there's one down. There's no doubt, Eddie and Tim, there are people at home watching saying, wow, umpires missing a lot of balls that should be called strikes. DJ Rayburn below average when it comes to strikes called, especially against righties, slightly below average against lefties. Tends to call more inside strikes against lefties than average, fewer outside strikes to lefties than average. So there's scouting reports on umpires too. But today he has missed many that the K zone has described as strikes. And now Bregman, who's made a couple of fantastic plays in the field. Ball 1.
What are you smiling about, Eddie?
I'm just liking how Carl just gave a complete breakdown right there. DJ Rayburn. That was fantastic.
That's a good pitch, 95. I guess I was one of those who thought second season, postseason, we would discount all the stuff that we've heard and experienced, and let's go show everybody we can play baseball, that we don't need the benefit of a trash can. But they are so flat. I'm really surprised by that.
Well, Ravi, this spring, the heat that they took, not from the media, from the other players, from their peers, I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen players on the record go after other players like they did to the Astros, and I'm sure, I know it affected them. How could it not? When people come out and say, I've lost respect for those guys. Those are your peers. And they just haven't been the same loud, arrogant, boisterous team that helped make them a really good team.
3-1, good pitch coming, and Bregman got this one up in the air, but it's playable in left to Rosario. Some late movement jammed him a little bit, and there's the second out. To your point, Tim, the outspoken Trevor Bauer. I'm not going to let them forget the fact they're hypocrites. They are cheaters. They've stolen from a lot of other people and the game itself. And as Eddie said, they experienced teams throwing at them. It certainly seemed to affect Jose Altuve, but as Dusty said earlier, like, they could even appear outwardly to be playing with a chip on their shoulder. When they go back into their rooms, you don't know how they're feeling.
And then there's social media. They all read the posts. They get it. The fans get their message across to them, and they're only human. And again, they messed up in a big way. They did. And they're paying the price for it. The fans have spoken. We saw it in spring training 1.0. They came out with their cardboard cutouts if it was in West Palm Beach and everywhere they went. And they have not been able to recover, at least not on the road they have.
Good pitch there from May to even the count up 1-1. Like, you could draw your own conclusions about what has caused these numbers, but left hand column in 2017, right hand in 2020, and they are all down, and they are all down big when it comes to batting average. And another pop-up and an easy inning for May.
I'll put all of the above on there. All of the above. Check mark.
Check that off. And Lucas Giolito on ESPN. A no-hitter through 5 now. Best of 3 wildcard series continue today, and 7 of the 8 games tomorrow on ESPN, ESPN2, and ABC Plus. The NBA Finals games 1 and 2 between the Heat and Lakers Wednesday and Friday at 9 Eastern on ABC. It's all now playing this week on ESPN and the ESPN app. How's Wednesday going to be in LA? LeBron and company, NBA Finals, Dodgers looking to begin the pursuit of their first World Series as the prohibitive favorite since 1988. Pretty good.
Great night in LA.
Valdez back on the mound. And the first pitch to Rosario in there for a strike. So a bit of nerves perhaps for Framber Valdez to start. He came on in relief of Zach Greinke. Immediately walked 2, and then a strikeout, a pop out to left, and a ground out to third. He got Buxton, Kepler, and Nelly Cruz.
Watch the curveball here with Framber Valdez. He'll use the fastball up and curveball with good break, good vertical break, also horizontal break. Has really made it a special pitch for him. Hitters in the back of their mind, they're thinking about that number 2, and instead sometimes they'll get that number 1 from the same arm slot.
0-2 instead, fastball. The shift is on. Bregman, not a problem for the former LSU shortstop, playing the position of shortstop for the out. We keep talking about it. As ineffective as they've been offensively and as flat as they've been, they're one swing away from tying the game. It's only 1-0. Give Greinke and now Framber Valdez, who appears to have found a little rhythm, some credit. Now Sano. Take a look at StatCast, powered by Google Cloud. So Bieber, who we'll get a chance to see later. Roman Marquez, Glasnow, and Framber Valdez. Best opponent's batting average against curveballs in the regular season.
Eduardo, you really hit left-handed pitching, but if you saw a left-hander who had a great curveball like this, what would your approach be?
I take it. I take it. I remember one time Hal McRae told me in Chicago, he said, you realize that all you do is roll over, hit ground balls to the third baseman when you swing at the curveball. I said, yeah, what do I do? He goes, stop swinging at it. He goes, but I see it. He goes, just take it. Take it, because most of the time it's going to be a ball down and in. And it actually changed my approach in my career a lot against lefties. It's a pitch that is supposed to represent a strike until the last minute when that spin takes it out of the zone, and then you end up chasing down in the zone and pounding it on the ground. My swing was not made to hit curveballs consistently, and I just started taking them. See, that's a pitch out of the zone. If he recognizes the spin and that's that little red dot on it, you end up walking right there, ball four.
A bunch of good hitters have told me you don't have to be able to hit the curveball, but you have to know when not to swing at it. And Sano's had trouble in this at-bat laying off of it.
Great two. There's another one. He fouls that one off.
And again, there are going to be times where you have those special guys that throw the curveball really well. Ted Lilly, back in the day, used to have a really good one. As a matter of fact, I actually struck out twice in one game, back-to-back at-bats. He threw me 6 curveballs in a row for strikes. And I had vowed not to swing at one, so I never did. But you will have the guys that will. But most of them throw the curveball just to show it to you, especially late in counts, to make you chase.
The bigger issue for Framber has been the exit velo has been very high, and that one looks like it was hit hard at right field. Reddick retreats, and he makes the play. Exit velocity and hard hit rate are fairly high off a guy that's got such good stuff. His ability to get the ball on the ground helps a lot.
Yeah, it really does. And especially when you have elite spin rate on the curveball. Again, he's in the 96th percentile of the spin rate. It's around 2,982 RPMs. Just lets you know how special it is, and he will use that pitch. That's his sink or swim pitch. Ooh. DJ Rayburn now opening it up.
So it looks like May will be done after one inning, and Tyler Duffy appears to be the next pitcher for the Twins.
Grew up in Houston, went to a bunch of baseball camps at the Astrodome, and soon will be pitching against his childhood team.
.6'3", 220. 5th round draft pick back in 2012. About 17, 18 miles southwest of Minute Maid Park in Houston. He went to Rice University. We'll see him next. And he got him, Framber Valdez, who was in line, in consideration to start game 2, instead doing his work in game 1. Back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. And a 1-0 game. It's now Tyler Duffy's responsibility to keep it that way. He's gone unscored upon in 44 of his last 49 appearances. And the first pitch is a breaking ball at 92. And Gurriel fouls out of play.
188 ERA this year. Going back to July of last year, it's 166 since then. They used to tell him you need to pitch down, down, down. Then they switched him and said, we want you to pitch up in the strike zone. Now he's 95, 96 at the letters, and people are having a hard time figuring him out.
That one's hit hard right at the third baseman. And Gurriel thrown out by Marwin Gonzalez. Well, we've never done October like this before, and that means anything can happen. MLB has got you covered on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Recapping our game, and a game in which anything can happen, in a season in which anything could happen. We weren't sure we were going to get through the regular season the way it started, with the COVID diagnosis of players and then teams and outbreaks, and the Marlins and the Cardinals. They defied the odds after so many games off and doubleheaders played their way into the postseason. 16 teams starting today and tomorrow on their way to a World Series. We all hope. Correa behind 0-2.
So 2018, Duffy went up and down minor leagues 7 different times. And he told some family members, like, I can't keep doing this. But he's figured a few things out, and he's not going anywhere now because he's a part of this deep, versatile bullpen they have. A really big part.
What did our buddy Alex Cora describe himself as? The I-4 guy? Like, you're not getting sent up and down to the minors and majors, but every time there's a road trip into spring training on I-4, you're on the bus.
I know that trip very well.
Interstate 4. No traffic, which is always good about Interstate 4 in Florida. Mercy.
Traffic is unbelievable there. And you have to know where the good shakes are on the exits also when you're taking that trip through the I-4. You can ask Greg Colley, our producer, about that. One of our producers at Baseball Tonight about that. I-4 is phenomenal.
Two from Duffy to Correa. Breaking ball. He fouls it off.
Now, we talked earlier about Framber Valdez's curveball and how elite it is in the 96th percentile. Well, Duffy's a fastball curveball guy, but his curveball is not in the 96th percentile. On the contrary, it's on the 39th percentile of it. 500 revolutions per minute less than Framber Valdez, yet as very effective as it is.
Ooh. Correa punched out. He didn't think so, but he is called out by the first base umpire, Manny Gonzalez. That was a curveball, Eddie, or a wicked slider.
That was a curveball, dropped down the elbow, and Carlos Correa has a point there. I don't think he went. Looked like he held up on that one. Once he sees it on video later on, he'll be even more frustrated.
Reddick. That's a single as they played the shift. Duffy's pitch was up, and Reddick is aboard. So just like that, the Astros bring the go-ahead run to the plate.
Since pioneering the SUV in 1935, the Chevy Suburban has carried many things. Nothing more important than family. Introducing the most versatile and advanced Chevy Suburban and Tahoe ever.
So Duffy was funny talking yesterday about being from Houston. He goes, I'm hoping all my buddies are rooting for me tomorrow, but I'm not so sure.
Righties held to a 136 average against Duffy this year. Lefty's a little better at 171, and the lefty Reddick is aboard for Martin Maldonado. 0 for 2 today with 2 strikeouts. That one laced off the glove of the third baseman. There'll be a throw to first. Not in time. Remember Maldonado with that knee injury, but he's able to leg it out on a hard hit ball at Marwin Gonzalez. So the Astros, with 2 down, have 2 aboard.
And a good presence of mind right there by Marwin Gonzalez at third base. You call it the hot corner for a reason. This one skips, hits off the heel, but he knows that Martin Maldonado can't get down the line, even with a good knee, that well. Went after it right there. Now you have runners at first and second, and George Springer at the plate. Good
was a tough
opportunity
play
here for the Astros.
That was a tough play, but you do wonder with Josh Donaldson not at third if there would have been any different outcome.
That is the point. That's a difficult play for any third baseman, but they're going to miss Josh Donaldson at third defensively more than they'll miss him offensively.
And while that play was not handled, Alex Bregman has made a couple of very big plays, including this one in the first with the bases loaded. And 2 down, he was able to throw out Sano on a hard-charging barehander. And then later in the game, similar play to get Nelson Cruz. So Bregman has been outstanding there at third base. And now a big spot in this game after a meeting on the mound. Tyler Duffy works with Ryan Jeffers and a very dangerous hitter, George Springer, at the plate.
And to repeat, he's been jumping that first pitch.
And every first pitch so far that the Minnesota Twins have thrown, George Springer has been a breaking pitch in this game.
Hit hard, and that's through. And the Astros are going to be able to tie this game up at third base. Out is Maldonado. The run is scored, though. And it is 1-1, an RBI for George Springer. Maldonado ends the inning with a base running mistake going to third. Good job by the Twins to cut him down there.
Eddie, where are we going here?
No need. There was not going to be a play at the plate. Good job by Byron Buxton throwing this ball to third to get Martin Maldonado. We're tied going into the bottom of the seventh.
Astros get a run in the seventh. We're tied now 1-1. The Twins have only 2 hits today. Greinke and Framber Valdez have been super. And they'll bring up Mitch Garver as a pinch hitter. Last year, 93 games, had those 31 home runs and 67 runs batted in. A terrific year behind the plate. And this year, it's come apart. Batting 167. 2 homers and 5 RBI.
And 37 strikeouts and 72 at-bats.
Framber Valdez gets the benefit of a call that looked a little bit outside, and he has certainly gotten more comfortable after his first 2 batters that he walked.
Yeah, and the Houston Astros know one thing. Mitch Garver, since last season, can pummel the fastball against left-handed pitchers. I would not go there with him. A lot of breaking pitches he'll see. Good take.
And if you're a Twins fan, you got to think it's time to get going here. They're 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. They've scored 1 run. And they just got a break when the Astros ran the bases so poorly.
I like Garver right there. Same as last pitch, right? Okay, so the other one was called a ball. Why is this one called a strike? And it was a ball out of the zone.
And he's a catcher, so he's familiar with balls coming in over that plate. DJ Rayburn's first postseason game behind the plate. 1-2, steady diet of breaking balls, and Garver strikes out again.
You have to know who you are, and you have to know who you're facing. And Framber Valdez with that elite curveball, that's what you're going to get. So you have to either move up in the plate to beat the break, allow that pitch to get up. Because if you're looking for the fastball, with the reputation that you have against hitting the fastball, there's no chance you're going to get one. And the Astros just put down the number 2.
How good has Framber Valdez been since coming into this game? Marwin Gonzalez. This one a lot easier for Bregman, and he throws out his former teammate. 2 down quickly.
That was me right there, Carl. Curveball, you think you're going to hit it far, roll over right to third base. It's a tough one. Good spin. Looks a lot easier on TV than it does from the batter's box.
You just look at the facial expressions. You know what's missing from the Astros? Any joy at all. No joy. And yet here they are, and it feels like in a game in which there's not a lot of momentum, they have it all.
Well, coming into the 7th inning, this season. They were 4-28 when they were behind.
Luis Arise grounded out to the shortstop, flew out to left, and he walked.
Maybe we talk about how different an offensive team the Astros have been. They slugged almost 100 points lower this year than they did last year. And the Twins are still a very good offensive team, but they're not the team that hit 307 homers last year either. I mean, they've taken a bit of a step backwards also, so they're going to need to win a close game like this, scoring not very many runs instead of just pounding teams.
Yeah, I mean, they were on pace for 270 again this year if you were to play 160, but you know, they're not the La Bamba crew they had last year.
Between Luis Arise and Juan Soto, very dramatic on their takes. Love it.
Throws out Arise. Boys and girls, we're going to the eighth. They've got 2 hits. They got 1 run. They're 24-7 at home and score 4.5 runs per game. At the Loon Cafe, Minneapolis, and we've got some Twins fans in the Twins game on every. Like, we're not even sharing TVs. We're just going all Twins on every TV. Some of the fans start to go back into the bars and restaurants. The Wild Card Series presented by Hankook Tire. Never halfway.
Eddie, I've been to the Loon. Have you?
I have not. I have not.
Alex Avila's gone in to catch for the Minnesota Twins. How was your Loon experience, Tim?
Like every other bar experience, 1 beer, then I go home.
And you're out?
That's it.
People want to talk baseball with you, though?
Oh, of course.
Corner you? Trapped. Oof, Jose Altuve frustrated after that swing on a curveball from Duffy, who's back for his 2nd inning of work. Tyler Duffy allowed the only run of the game for the Astros, a single. Josh Reddick, he came around to score on an RBI from George Springer.
Let's not forget how that top of the 7th ended. Martin Maldonado getting thrown out at third base, doing it on purpose so run can score. I thought it scored easily. Bad base running decision right there by Maldonado. The bat out of Jose Altuve's hands. The runners could have been at first.
Ravi, I'm not proud to say it, even though I say it every telecast. The base running is the worst I've ever seen it in the 4 decades that I've covered. This is a playoff game. It's a tie game. You can't make that mistake with Jose Altuve or anybody coming up in that spot.
Duffy misses again. 3-1 to the leadoff hitter here in the 8th.
Now this is where Altuve has to think right center field. Let his hands react to anything in. If he's thinking pull, he ends up rolling over most of the time. It's an approach factor here.
That's high, and that's a leadoff walk for Altuve.
And there's that high fastball that he likes to throw, but
Kevin Connors has a quick update for us. Well, after that leadoff walk to Altuve, Tyler Duffy, not perfect and out of the game. That's an amazing power you have to eliminate and end a no-hitter perfect game from a studio 3,000 miles away. New pitcher Taylor Rogers, and a big spot obviously with a game tied 1-1 8th inning. Middle of the order, Michael Brantley after the Altuve walk.
And he leads their team in saves, but he's not the everyday closer. They see 2 left-handed hitters coming up in the next 3 and think, we got to get these guys out now. Let's bring in our best left-hander.
High leverage situations. That's the way the game has been managed in the recent years. You have to understand where you are in the lineup. You know they're not going to hit for Brantley or Tucker. So you bring in your best in a crucial situation. I like it.
This guy has a great slider. He just hasn't had the same bite on it this year that he did last year. He's going to need a good slider against this line.
Brantley good at going the other way too, so the slider will allow that bat path to drop the ball into left field.
That being said, good the other way in the air. The Twins still playing the full shift. Right side of the infield full of Twins. Jorge Polanco playing on the right side.
Minnesota Twins have lost 16 straight postseason games. Maeda was good. He left with a 1-0 lead. It's a new game now. Brantley takes that. No swing. 2-1. This has been a very good Minnesota bullpen. 6th in the league with a 3.62 ERA. 3rd in WAR with a 3.3 wins above replacement mark. Alex Bregman on deck. Blew that by him.
It's an easy 96 up in the zone.
Rogers has a twin brother that pitches for the Giants. And he pitches for the Twins.
A twin should pitch for the Twins. I see where you're doing. Taylor's 29 years old. How old is his brother? Again, the employees and the families that are living in the bubble allowed in the ballpark there in Minnesota. 2-2 to Brantley. Got him. Big pitch on that slider, and Rogers gets Brantley.
It's what you want, a chance again. Michael Brantley has always been a tough out. Showed him the fastball up first, and this time goes back to the 83-mile-per-hour slider. Appears to be a strike, and then right out of it. Good job by Alex Avila making that call. Mr. Duffy loving it.
And now Alex Bregman, the third baseman. 10 homers, 27 RBIs in his 16 postseason games. Strike one.
This is not an elimination game, Ravi, but tomorrow is for one of these teams. That's why this is so important right now.
It feels like the biggest at-bat of the game so far for Houston with the cleanup hitter up. A quick throw over to look at Altuve.
Say whatever you want. The job that Framber Valdez has done so far to keep his team in it, giving them an opportunity to tie this game again, it's been an unbelievable asset right there in the front office. Making that decision early on. Greinke, don't let him get by the 80 pitches. So far it's paid off for the Astros.
0-1 way inside. Bregman gets out of the way of it. Yeah, I mean, that is ultimately the question. There was some concern, criticism, questioning the decision to take Greinke out. You mentioned that it was clear the pitcher wasn't happy. Perhaps the manager wasn't. But it's now 1-1, and you got the go-ahead run on base in the 8th inning. He's come up big in the field twice. Can he deliver at the plate? Nope. That's popped up. Sun is bright, but it's caught by the left fielder, Eddie Rosario, for the second out. So they're able to get through. Rogers is, Brantley, and Bregman. And now lefty on left for Rogers to take on Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker's been quite a story this year for Houston. You could argue in a year in which everyone is down, his numbers have been particularly good and seemingly getting better.
It's a short year, but it's been a breakthrough year for him. And they're very right-handed loaded on this team. That's why he's so important.
That's a good pitch in there for strike one. So you're first in triples, and you're in top 10 in all the other categories: extra base hits, RBIs, and stolen bases. You do have that juxtaposition at first base now, because you have Sano over there and Altuve's over there. End of the bat, maybe a broken bat, and they got like 9 fielders located in right field. Ended up with the glove of Kepler. Good job by Rogers. Bottom 8 in a 1-1 game. From this game in a nutshell. It's 1-1, 7 hits, 2 for the Minnesota Twins. As we take a look at our game track, it's brought to you by Geico. Kenta Maeda went 4 innings. He threw a lot of pitches. First scoreless postseason start by a Twin pitcher since '04. That was Johan Santana. The Twins are trying to end a 16-game postseason losing streak, and they're running into a very difficult pitcher to hit, and a guy that started for the Astros, Framber Valdez. He deals with 2, 3, and 4 here in the bottom of the 8th of a tie game. And that breaking ball has been great.
And Byron Buxton has not been able to figure it out at all. Still good numbers against the breaking pitch this season, but swinging at pitches that are way out of the zone.
I think I said 4. Maeda had gone 5 innings. Yeah, not 4. 5 innings. And another strike. White Sox, by the way, have just added another run. Giolito gave up a hit, so the perfect game is gone, but the home runs are back for the White Sox. As Yasmani Grandal just hit one. It's 4-0 Chicago in the top of the 8th on ESPN. 4-0 White Sox.
So Eddie's had trouble with that curveball. Do you just throw it again here?
Exactly. Throw it again a little bit lower this time. There. It's a pitch that's designed again to look like a strike and get you to chase. Once you see that spin, it looks big. And Framber Valdez with that high spin rate, making it work for him. Byron Buxton. When have you seen a hitter that has 130 plate appearances, an OPS above 800, yet an on-base percentage under 275? You wonder if it's sustainable.
One of the strangest seasons I've ever seen. 6th guy ever, 2 homers and 2 doubles and 13 homers in a season.
Max Kepler down the line in left. That sends Tucker into the corner, and he runs out of room. So, of course, everybody remembers the regular season. In a tie game in extra innings, you'd start with the runner on second. That is not the case in the postseason. We will play it out conventionally. No runner at second, etc. So this one will, if it stays tied through 9, you know, got a chance to go a little longer than most of the games did in the regular season.
Well, not to be a smart aleck here, but if it's such a great rule and everybody loves it so much, why don't we use it during the postseason?
I would. And I think the reason, as Kepler got jammed here, and it is Springer and Tucker. It's Tucker. I think there was a goal to expedite the game in the regular season because they were jamming 60 games in. They didn't want pitching staffs to get used. They figured this would end games quicker than the conventional style.
Yes, I'm well aware why they put the rule in.
Oh, I thought you asked a question.
No, it was rhetorical.
Oh.
And I'm just saying I'm not a big fan of this. And
you've made that quite clear.
Just not sure we should use it for next year when we're playing 162 games.
In the regular season?
Yes.
I'm in on it. Eddie, you're laughing again.
I believe it's here to stay in the regular season. I really do. Even teams have showed that most of the teams don't even bunt depending on the situation where they are in the lineup. And it's really shown the capacity of what you have in the bullpen, how teams are able to execute, who are not able to execute, and it's going to show a little bit more of that fundamental baseball.
Caleb Thielbar of the Twins came into a game in the 9th inning. He faced 4 batters in the game, retired all of them, and got the loss in the game because in the 10th inning he came in with a runner on second base. Faced 4 batters, got them all out, and got the loss because the reliever Sergio Romo came in and gave it up. You tell me how that's fair.
Well, you could definitely change the scoring of that if that's upsetting you more than the runner on second is. You're upset about the scoring and who gets the loss. Look, regular season is clear. Their goal is to not have arms taxed, bullpens taxed. I think it is a fair question. If it works in the regular season, why do we change the rule in the postseason if that's what is going to ultimately happen? Sergio Romo warms for the Twins and Rocco Baldelli. Framber Valdez has definitely been the most valuable player for the Astros today if he can get through Cruz. And he does. How about Framber Valdez? 5 strikeouts since coming into the game. It's eerily quiet in Minnesota. Honor, remember, and thank the frontline heroes who continue to lift up their fellow citizens during the COVID-19 pandemic. Major League Baseball would like to honor them and remember them. ESPN would also like to do the same. And I know I speak for all of us involved with baseball, thanking the frontline workers and those that helped make this baseball season possible. And that took a monumental effort. All right, so here's Sergio Romo as we start the 9th inning, and the Astros have Yuli Gurriel leading things off. First pitch at the knees, in there for a strike. Romo's last 2 appearances, 3 runs allowed and 1 out. There are the number of games, his ERA 23-7, strikeouts to walk, and a whip of 1.15. Gurriel didn't like that call.
And as a hitter, you can't help, because as soon as you see Sergio Romo come into the game, you see it not hit any of part of the plate. You're looking for the Sergio Romo slider. And so far, 2 fastballs by Romo to Gurriel.
There's the slider. He reaches out and drops it into right center field for a leadoff hit off Sergio Romo. And that pitch was way off the plate. But a good start for the Astros here in the ninth.
You commit to the at-bat, to looking for that one pitch. You're like, I'm going to let any other pitch go if it's a fastball. Yuli Gurriel, not trying to do so much with it, covers not only the plate area, but a little bit more, and is able to get that base hit to right center field.
Now Correa.
Ooh. That pitch right there, if he's looking, slider can go a long way. Should have been called a strike instead, called a ball.
Right down Broadway for a strike. 1-1. Romo, of course, has been around for a while. He's a three-time World Series champ. Remember with him the Giants in 2010, 12, and 14. 25 1/3 innings of postseason work, 10 earned runs, 3-1 overall, a 3.55 ERA. Way outside. Jake Odorizzi, the starter for the Twins through the season, is warming in the bullpen. And they will try, if they get to the 10th inning, to get some innings out of Jake. Heard an interview with Jake in which he compared himself to Kenta Maeda this round. Like the same way the Dodgers used Maeda, I expect to be used by the Twins.
(3-1) Eddie, does he throw a slider here?
I would. That's his bread and butter. That's what's kept him so long at this level.
Instead, it was a fastball. This is a little blooper into center field. That's going to drop. And now the Astros are in big time business in the ninth with runners at first and second on a couple of soft hits.
But what this tells me is two things. The Astros are looking for the slider the entire time. We saw it with the 0-2 pitch to Gurriel out of the zone. In this one right here, Carlos Correa is looking slider, and he still can catch up to his fastball is right down the middle. He gets jammed. Back of his mind thinking slider. You're not supposed to get jammed on a 3-1 fastball coming 88. Flat as it was right there. Strong enough to get it out over the infield for a hit, and now the Astros putting a little pressure on Sergio Romo.
Here's the 8-hitter Reddick. Years back, this would be a bunt situation to get the runners to second and third with one out.
Wow. Ball's outside. Board says 1-0, but DJ Rayburn called it a strike, if I'm not mistaken.
Reddick got one to hit, and he popped it up. Playable for Gonzalez, and he makes a tough play. And no advancement. Big out. Josh Reddick has come up with a couple of opportunities. Couldn't deliver there. So 1 down, 2 on.
Yeah, frustrating afternoon for Josh Reddick. 1 for 4. Evening, 2 strikeouts to go along with it. But every time there was a runner on base, he was not able to do the job, not even move the runners over by trying to pull the ball.
And 6 sacrifice bunts in Josh Reddick's career, 4,700 plate appearances. That's why people don't bunt anymore, because they never ask him to bunt.
Maldonado with a slow runner, Gurriel at second, and a slider misses away.
Eddie, does a player say, I ran us out of the last inning, I got to make up for that here? Does that actually go through a hitter's mind here, or are there other things to think about?
I hope that he's thinking in the present right now, and he can put that one in the past. Martin Maldonado, he's a guest hitter at the plate. Seen him not only at the major league level, but also in winter ball. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's guessing right now slider.
2-0. This ball driven to left field. It's going to hang up, and it's caught by Rosario, and no advancement. So you can see Romo. He is giving up a couple of singles and now 2 outs. And he's a George Springer at bat away from getting out of it.
Yeah, a lot of people wondering why Josh Reddick did not bunt. That's not the game that the Houston Astros have played the entire season, and this is one of the observations that you'll see throughout this postseason. It's postseason baseball. You're supposed to play different, but if guys aren't used to bunting, they don't know how to do it, you won't see their managers asking them to do something that they're not used to doing.
Springer, an RBI single in the 7th. And Romo down in the zone.
And Eddie, another first pitch where Springer didn't offer because they're not throwing him a strike.
I'm George Springer. I sell out completely on the slider. It's all that he's been getting this afternoon. They'll show him the heater, but the slider is a constant.
Oh. Started at his left knee and slid in over the plate.
Ay, bendito sea el Señor. That's what makes you speak a little Spanish right there on ABC.
What did you say in Spanish?
I just said, oh my goodness. This is if you're sitting on this pitch, that can go a long way, 75 miles per hour.
The guy they want up in this situation, Springer, and he did the exact thing you wanted him to do on the prior pitch. Identified, saw, swung, and he missed badly.
I mean, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, I don't want to be surprised with the fastball, but Sergio Romo is going to get through this inning with his #1 pitch, and the #1 for him is the slider. Again, we saw Carlos Correa get jammed on a 3-1 pitch. Most likely sitting slider, quick enough to catch up to it.
1-2 to Springer. George, and that's at the shortstop. The force out dropped, and the Twins stay alive because there was no advance from the runner at third. The bases are loaded. The Twins nearly blew it. Should have been out of the inning.
Jorge Polanco got a little comfortable right here. Did not put his feet in position. Underarm, sidearm the throw. Just off balance throw, and Luis Arraez could not do anything but just try to stop it. Again, he could have put himself in position. You don't even see Carlos Correa in the picture on this one.
And Gurriel had no chance to move any further than third. And now you have Altuve with the bases loaded in a tie game in the 9th and 2 down. And ball 1.
Guys, I have advantage Altuve on this one just because this is a guy that'll sit on a pitch. And he'll sit slider. Sergio Romo has to be able to execute well with that slider, locate it well. Pressure on Romo.
Ravi, we have missed the crowd so much this year, the energy and the atmosphere, and this is a perfect
Never
example.
more so
this
than
place
right now.
would be crazy right now if there were fans in the stand.
Without question. Altuve would have had an opportunity had Gurriel not run himself into the third out a few innings ago. Took the bat out of Altuve's hands. He now has the bat in his hands in a tie game with 2 outs in the top of the 9th. The base is loaded. It was Maldonado who ran himself out, not Gurriel. Inside, 2-1.
Just a show me pitch. That just tells you how much confidence he has on that pitch right there.
Jose Altuve is 1 for 5 in his career with the bases loaded in the postseason. Will the error hurt the Twins? That's a good pitch. 2-2.
I mean, they made 20 errors all season, fewest in the American League. And at a time where they have to make that out, they made a mistake. And now let's see if Altuve can make them pay. Slider, Eddie, 2-2.
Yeah. And you just saw Altuve take a fastball right there on the outside corner. He's been sitting on it.
Wow. 3-2 now for Romo.
And everybody's running.
You know what? And everybody at home should be standing right now, because that's what the crowd would be doing here at Target Field. 3-2, sliders coming, fellas.
If it makes you feel any better, I'm on my feet, Eddie.
I'm on mine too.
One of baseball's best hitters over the last 4 years, Jose Altuve. And he walked him, and the run comes in, and the Astros on a bases loaded walk lead it 2-1 in the 9th.
He went with the fastball. That's the one pitch that he does not have good control over. And that's the one he's not going to sleep of. The Twins aren't able to come back in the bottom of the 9th inning. Fastball up in the zone. Altuve, give him credit. That's a pitch that he usually swings at earlier this season. He's had the discipline twice to walk twice in this game.
The last two innings,
walk of his career.
All fours were high fastballs. Altuve, you're right, Eddie. He laid off of them, and now he's got him a run.
They brought in Sergio Romo. He gave up 2 singles and then got 2 outs. And then there was the huge error made by Jorge Polanco, which allowed the bases to stay loaded after the Altuve walk. It's a Houston 2-1 lead. By the error from shortstop Jorge Polanco. They had a force out at second. He threw it wide and allowed the inning to continue, and then a bases loaded walk. They have lost 16 straight postseason games, which is the major league record, and now find themselves on the short end of a 2-1 game. Still Astros bases loaded for Michael Brantley and the lefty. Caleb Thielbar into the game for Minnesota.
Undrafted free agent, didn't pitch in the big leagues for 5 years, was going to become a pitching coach in college, got another chance to pitch, and here he is, and has had a very nice season as the second lefty in this bullpen.
But he has not appeared in a postseason game. Brantley swings at the first pitch and fouls it away.
I mean, just think how the narrative will change on this series if it ends this way. Then people are going to be talking about, well, the Twins can't win a postseason game, and the Astros experience came in handy. Amazing how in a short series things can change so quickly.
I'll be talking about Framber Valdez and the error. Woo, slow breaking ball at 67 miles an hour in there for a strike.
Yeah, that's a tough one. You're geared up for the fastball, or at least a sweeping slider, and you get a 67 mile per hour pitch. Shades of Zach Greinke earlier this afternoon, and threw 2 of those same velocity.
Close. 1-2. K-zone did have it, getting a little bit of that strike zone. Houston bullpen is empty. It looks like this is Framber Valdez's game to win. Another breaking ball. Brantley delivers that one down in front of Buxton. Correa is going to come in to score. And so is Springer. And just like that, the Houston Astros have a 4-1 lead with 3 runs here in the 9th. Big time hit from Michael Brantley behind in the count.
Well, he showed him the curveball early on in the at-bat, and guys like Michael Brantley, they don't care if it's lefties or righties on the mound. They store that pitch in the back of their mind. He waited on it. Nothing Byron Buxton can do. As Michael Brantley gets his bench excited.
Now you start to see some emotion from the Astros as Bregman bats with runners at first and third. So Caleb Thielbar had held left-handers to a 158 average. 3 for 19.
That's a pretty good left-handed hitter he gave up a hit to there. Beautiful job staying back on that.
And they're 0-2.
Rocco Baldelli and Wes Johnson there having a conversation, but there's, you press the right buttons, you do everything right, but when your defense does not execute, that's when everything goes wrong. And that play with Jorge Polanco, lazy on his feet, ended up throwing it away. An easy play, 6-4 force out, ends up costing them in a big way.
So, Ravi, this game could come down to the play that Bregman made and the play that Polanco didn't make. Might have churned this whole game.
And Bregman's play was in the first inning. Polanco's was in the 9th inning. A huge walk in this inning to Jose Altuve, who's now at third base. And you never know what's going to cause it, but maybe the Astros, after winning their first postseason game, will start to ask, well, why not us?
Think about it, Carl. 2 teams in this wild card that finished the season 2 games under 500, getting an opportunity here. Dusty Baker's team and the Milwaukee Brewers, both 29 and 31 to end the season.
Yep.
Keep looking at those Twins left to right in the front row. We've got Tony Oliva, Kirby Puckett, Kent Hrbek, Joe Nathan, Eddie Guardado, Larry Heisel. That covers a lot of Twins right there.
Is that Rod Carew up there in like third row?
Yeah, I see.
Harmon Killebrew second row.
Killebrew, Jim Cott. Yeah, love it.
He'd be in the first, but they're social distancing.
Rocco Baldelli made the point, and you understand it. Like, not a lot of these guys have been here for these 16 playoff losses. But
we keep bringing it up.
We keep bringing it up.
How could they not hear it at least?
2-2 breaking ball. Bregman's slow roller, and that time fielded and thrown cleanly to second. That one went well. This one did not. And this one may decide the game. Polanco with a good throw. They had the out. Instead, everybody was safe. It led to a bases-loaded walk to Altuve and a lead for the Astros. And then it was Michael Brantley who delivered 2 more. Astros, bottom 9, leading by 3. The White Sox lead the A's 4-1. They're in the top of the 9th. Our game has gone to the bottom of the 9th, and we are getting set to see the Yankees and the Indians get started at 7 Eastern time on ESPN. Aaron Judge in the batter's box. The Yankees are healthy again, which is where Aaron Boone wanted them. Pitching matchup there, Bieber and Cole. Zach Greinke and Framber Valdez. Look at the numbers in the right-hand column. 4 innings and no hits, no earned runs, a couple of walks and 5 strikeouts. He has been great. 5th reliever in postseason history with 4 no-hit innings. And Pedro Martinez, the last to do 5 innings. That was the ALDS 99. In fact, he went 6 innings with no hits. So Valdez trying to land this plane and get the last 3 outs. And that's a good start as Eddie Rosario swings and misses.
I mean, Ravi, this is just so unusual that any reliever would pitch 5 innings these days. They're even though he's a starter pitching in relief, closer always comes in the 9th inning to end this game, and it looks like they're going to let this kid finish.
And they should.
And I agree. They should.
And one of the big reasons also is with the 3-game series, no days off in between. That'll allow, if he can finish this game, to have Ryan Presley, if needed, tomorrow and also the next day. He's thrown back-to-back days, but 3 days in a row, something that Presley has not done this year yet.
Broken bat. That's a fair ball. Rosario didn't even leave the box. Twins, 1 down.
Right. And Eduardo, this is so similar to what you were talking about with Charlie Morton in the World Series in 2017. They weren't going to pitch him the final 4 innings of that game, but they kept looking at him and they said, no, we're going to hit this guy. Let's leave him in. They watched the game and realized this is Valdez at his best. Let's leave him in.
Yeah, it's Rosario right there. Not too happy at all. And Valdez has been able to do that to all of these players with that curveball. That's a high spin rate curveball, and not only to the Minnesota Twins, but the outings that he has had this season has given Dusty Baker the confidence to be able to keep him out there.
Sano keeps it alive with 1 down, 1 aboard. And the first hit allowed by Framber Valdez. It looks like the Astros do have Ryan Presley up.
Yeah. They'll give him 1 more hitter. Dusty Baker, you give him 1 more hitter, and then after that you can go get, if he does not get Polanco, then you go get him. Let's see if that's what they do. Presley already ready.
Ball 1 to Jorge Polanco. Game 1, best of 3. You see Toronto and Tampa Bay underway, 0-0 there in the 3rd. Misses down again.
Astudillo on deck, which means if he gets the bat here, they will have used their 4 catchers in this game.
That's right.
take. Good take right there. You don't see a lot of hitters doing that. It's a 4-1 game. Your job is just try to get on base to get that tying run at the plate.
Polanco's going to keep it alive. This was in front of Reddick, and Framber Valdez grimaces as he is off the mound, knowing what this is likely going to mean for him.
Yeah, he's done. And if you look at the last two hits the Minnesota Twins were able to get, both by Sano and Polanco, opposite field hitting, and they were both able to hit the fastball the other way. That's a pitch that's patented to try to get you to roll over for the double play. Give a lot of credit to Polanco right there, driving it. This would call on, as soon as Astudillo gets his name in, most likely Dusty Baker will go to the mound.
Williams Astudillo is going to pinch hit for the Twins. We're waiting to see if Dusty Baker is going to come out of that dugout for the Astros. He hasn't yet made that move.
He's going to right now. No, he's going to leave him in.
Well, Ryan Presley is warm in the bullpen.
And we saw Astudillo looking in also at the dugout at Dusty Baker, thinking that he was going to get a pinch hitter. This motivates you as a pinch hitter. Williams Astudillo saying, okay, no respect. You're not bringing in the righty.
Astudillo was added to the roster on Monday, the postseason roster. He'd been at the alternate site. Got a chance to tie it. Swings at the first pitch, and Bregman ends it with a double play. Astudillo grounds out. Dusty takes a chance and leaves Framber Valdez in, and it works beautifully. The Houston Astros go into Minnesota and take the best home field advantage in a year in which there are no fans, and they beat them at home.
And a bad road team went in and beat a great home team in a critical game one.
Well, if you're going to chalk one up to analytics, give that front office credit for pulling Greinke when they did, and a big smile on the face of the lefty Framber Valdez. For Eduardo Perez, Tim Kirkchin, and our entire crew on ESPN on ABC, I'm Carl Ravitch. The Astros grab a 1-0 lead and win it 4-1.